Or on a Wednesday. I'm here. Every morning on Wednesday, I sit here. We have First Take on, and there's this woman host, and I don't know who she is, but her eyebrows drive me crazy. And
is it Shea Cornette?
I don't know, but she looks like a Romulan.
Yeah, Shea Cornette. She took over like 6 months ago for Molly Kareem.
I don't watch these shows, so I don't know.
Something about that.
Yeah, it was within the last year. Molly Kareem stepped away, and Shea Cornette took over.
I'm gonna do a poll on Twitter asking if everyone thinks she's a Romulan or not.
And we always seem to have the midday talk shows on this TV. I don't know who always puts these on, but we've always got like
it's got to be
like
Dubin.
The Drew Barrymore show is on one of these TVs, and no one wants to change it.
Anyway, all right, I'm sorry. Let's do sports. Let's do that hockey.
Yes. That's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to do that hockey. The Preds last night, an impressive win in Anaheim.
Bam!
On a back-to-back, a must-win game. At least every game that down the stretch kind of feels like a must-win with the way the playoff race is shaping up.
Mm-hmm.
And they were able to pull it off 5-0. Eustace
didn't pull it off.
43 saves in that game.
First period, Anaheim won them the game. I mean, he really – I mean – I'll say something controversial. Is he better right now?
I was thinking about asking that question. I feel like it is controversial. There are a lot of people who don't like UC Soros right now, at least given what he was paid and the long extension and the trade protections.
I feel like he's been average.
He has. There's been nothing special about UC Soros, at least over the last couple of months during this playoff chase.
I mean, Anaheim stole that game.
Yes, he did.
First period. He stole it.
I saw Alex Doherty from the Tennessean put out Eustace Anaheim 5.76 expected goals against for Anaheim last night.
I mean, that save he made to end the first period, that was huge.
Maybe they need to switch the commercial and have Eustace doing the no goals.
Yeah. I mean, and look, I like Little Juice. I'm just going by what I see. All right. I'm going by what I see.
Yeah.
And Big Juice is playing big minutes right now. And,
yeah.
They got outshot 20-6 at one point in that game. And, a couple things. That's number one, that Big Juice won that game. Number two, the Ducks were 0-4-1 in their last 5 coming in, so they're struggling. Number three, the Preds, yes, coming in off a back-to-back, but not your typical back-to-back.
Where you don't have to travel.
Yes, in LA, in Anaheim, so they had that going for them as well. Now, you still saw the first period. The legs looked
a little heavy.
Looked a little sluggish. But then you saw, like, once they got that goal, who scored the first goal? It was
was it Phil? No, it was Holla.
Holla. Yeah, he got the crossing pass from one of the young guys.
Yes.
Yeah, was it Kemmel? Yeah, it was Kemmel. So he got the cross and scored, and the Ducks just fell apart. I mean, like the Preds went from like 0 puck possession to like dominating the puck possession at that point, and it was like, wow, they're fragile, and they're a really young team. I mean, they're one of the youngest teams in hockey, and so that makes sense. But just a critical 2 points. And when you look at the series, I mean, look, they are 3-0-1 on this season-altering road trip, but they still haven't managed to really make any headway in the playoffs. If anything, they've lost ground.
I know. It's crazy to say that when if you had told somebody at the beginning of the road trip, hey,
3-0-1,
you got 7 out of 8 points heading to Utah. Everybody would say, sign me up.
You know what the big problem with that is?
You did it against the Kings and you couldn't.
Well, no regulation wins against the Kings.
Right.
So despite beating the Kings, they have 3 of 4 points.
Well, the Kings only play overtime games, as we've learned.
Which is why they're in the position they're in. They always get points.
They have played, let me do some quick math here, 32 overtime games out of 77 total this year. So almost half of their games have gone to overtime.
Yeah, their goaltending's not good enough. Their goaltending. I mean, and that's what we're seeing with a lot of these specific teams, whether it be Anaheim or
Seattle
or LA, that their goaltending's just not good enough. And that's what's kind of one of the things that's held them back in these situations. And the Preds goaltending has been average to, good at times. I mean, like yesterday was really good. It was really good.
Yeah, Eustace on this stretch, when he has had to step in, he has been special.
Yeah, I mean, there was a couple weeks ago when just got hurt.
Yeah,
and Eustace came in and
got the win against Vegas.
Yeah,
and then
that's why I say, I mean, I know the sample's smaller.
Seattle.
but I feel like he's been really good.
And I don't know what you do if you're Andrew Brunette.
You win hockey games.
No, I understand, but it's like, do you ride the hot hand with Justus Ananen over the next week and a half or a week before the season's over?
Hard not to.
Or do you go with the guy that you're paying almost $8 million a year? Like,
you can't just make that decision. I mean, that's got to go through the front office.
Right. You can't just bench Juuse Saros.
Yeah. Well, and I'm sure they say we're not benching him. We're just riding the hot hand.
Right.
There used to always be that rule. I don't know if it's still a rule or not, that if you get a shutout, you start the next game. And you could ride that one.
Yeah, in Utah.
Say, well, until he gives up a goal, he's starting.
Yeah, that's fair.
I might fall back on that one. Or you could just say, hey, we want to rest Juice for the homestand.
And with 4 games left, I might lean towards splitting it half and half. More than what you would expect would be 3 for UC, 1 for Big Juice.
Yeah.
But those are some tough decisions. I don't know if you saw the video. I saw this this morning when I was coming in. Andrew Brunette giving Justus Ananen a giant hug in the hallway on the way back to the locker room
after the first period.
I think it was after the game.
Yeah.
And
should.
It was funny. Justus goes for like the fist bump or the high five, and Andrew Brunette just gives him a bear hug.
So he played big. I mean,
it was huge.
I mean, like that was a Pekka Rinne style game. And that's what I want to say about UC Saros. I want to say, because we saw Rinne do it for a decade here.
Yeah.
The Preds win games they had no business winning because Rinne was so good that he just kept them in it until they could scratch something across. And that was Justus Ananen. And I'm not calling Justus Ananen the next Pekka Rinne.
Right.
I'm just saying he gave them that type of performance. And that's something that this team, frankly, has been missing. Now, I will say, when they got the overtime win in LA,
right, the shootout win, he stopped 8 straight.
Yeah, I mean, that's huge. That is huge, and so he deserves full marks for that.
I don't think UC Saros has not been horrible,
but no one is saying he should be benched.
But Justus Ananen has been better over the last 2 or 3 weeks, right? I think that's easy to say.
Yeah, I mean, you're saying who's been good and who's been better,
right? And
he's been better.
You've got 4 games to go, and you are in the thick of a playoff race. I would not blame Andrew Brunette if he says on Thursday in Utah, hey, we're going to go with the guy who just had 43 saves and shut out the Anaheim Ducks.
I think that Barry always did that. If you had a shutout, you started the next game. I think that was always the rule when Barry was the coach.
Yeah, and having the shutout at least gives you that excuse to do it, and it doesn't feel like it's a slight to UC Saros.
It's like, this is the rule, man. Did Juice have a shutout this year?
I don't believe he does. I think that might have been the first shutout for the Preds all season long. Yes.
Wow.
That was the first shutout for the Predators this season. Yeah.
That is staggering. That is staggering.
It's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah. So the Predators get a massive win last night. And I know people are tired. We had a texter yesterday who was like, let me guess, Jake, this is a big game coming up for the Preds tonight. And it's what else are we supposed to say? Every game is the biggest game of the season as you move along.
I will continue to say the Kings game on what night was that? Monday night?
Tuesday. Or yes, Monday.
What was the biggest game of the year?
Yep.
That was the biggest game of the year. Now, you continue to have big games after it,
right?
But the dictation of that game,
right? If you had lost that game in regulation,
yeah. But it's just like the ramifications, no matter how it finished,
right?
The way it affects the rest of the season, that game is the linchpin.
Yep.
That game, because if they win that game in regulation, look at the situation they're in now.
Yep.
They're up by 3 points.
Right.
They're up by 3 points. Well, I'm sorry, 2 points. Because they'd have one
more.
Right. Well,
no, because it would flip 0 and then 2.
They'd be up by 4. They'd be up by 4.
Yes.
Because they'd have one more and the Kings would have 2 less.
Yes.
So if you'd won that game in regulation, you would be looking at your playoff spot saying, we are in great shape.
Right.
But you didn't. And now you're like, oi. I mean, so while last night was huge and it was big and it keeps them in it, the Kings game, that was huge. That was the biggest one.
Winnipeg not completely out of it yet. They've got 80 points. They're 4 points back. Do have a game in hand against the Preds. Well. But it feels like it's a 3-team race with the Preds, the Kings, the Sharks. Sharks are 3 points back, but they have 2 games in hand.
The Blues and Kraken both lost last night.
The Kraken have fallen apart. Yeah. I mean, it was It was 2 or 3 weeks ago that when the Preds were playing the Kraken, it was like, hey, if you lose this game, the Kraken might run away with wild card 2. They are 1-7-2 in their last 10.
Bad goaltending.
It's been bad. So the Predators have a lot on the line right now, according to moneypuck.com. 43.2% chance to make the playoffs. That is 0.2 ahead of the Kings. So it's those two. Right. So it's 86% for those two.
So no one's even at 50%.
No.
Wow.
The Sharks are at 20%. So I guess there's still a chance Utah collapses down the stretch and falls out of it, or maybe Anaheim, because Anaheim's only at 87 points right now.
Okay. So if they don't win another game,
like if the Kings could catch Anaheim, they could go into the third spot.
Wouldn't that be something if the Preds ended up passing Anaheim to make the playoffs? I mean, because like,
they played the last game of the season.
That hasn't even been a consideration,
right? They've lost 6 in a row now.
Yeah.
So
they have 1 point in their last 6 games.
The Ducks are one of those teams with 4 games to go. If they can get 3 points in those last 4 games, they're probably fine.
Who's on the rest of the Ducks schedule? Because like the Kings have an easy schedule the rest of the way. They've got like the Flames and the Canucks.
Yes, they play the Canucks tomorrow night.
Yeah.
The rest of the schedule for the Ducks: San Jose, Vancouver at home, at Minnesota, at Nashville.
Okay. Well,
so that's not. It's definitely not gimmies, except for, I mean, Vancouver's
so that's
worst
8
team in the league.
Points.
Yes. So if they get 3 points, that would get them to 90.
It
would be tough. Preds are at 84. It would be tough to get there, but
Preds are at 84 with 4 to play.
Yeah. So they have a maximum of 92 points that they could get. I think if you get to 90, you feel good. If you're
I'll put it this way: if the Preds can finish the season on a 5-game win streak, I think they'll be in.
I agree.
I think they'll be
I think if they win out, they are in. I also think that you probably can afford one more regulation loss.
Yeah, that's it.
Like no more than that.
No.
But I think you can afford one more regulation loss and still have a chance here. 615-737-1025 is the phone number.
Help. You need like Vancouver or Calgary to step up and win one of these games.
Well, right, because the Kings have 1 game in hand against you. So, and you do have the tiebreaker against the Kings, which is good with the regulation wins because they've played so many games in overtime. But as you said, giving up that point last Thursday in LA could come back to bite them.
Well, I mean, they've given up a point in the last 2 games with them.
Right.
One
letting the game go to overtime on Thursday.
Yeah. And then not winning.
Right. Yeah, I mean, in the shootout.
So that's 2 points. I mean, and again, that's 2 points you could have had, but you're also giving them points.
Right.
So
that's why
those
games were so important over the weekend.
Yes, it's
Kings,
4 points.
Kings. You got 5 out of 6 points in those games, but it's the way those Kings games went. You had a 4-1 lead and blew it against LA last Thursday.
They got 3 out of 4 points.
That point could come back to bite you. Right. You got 3 out of 4 points, but so did they.
You need 4-point games. Like that's what made last night so big. That's what made San Jose so big.
Right.
Those were 4-point games. That's a punch in the nose to both of those teams.
And still one more game coming up against the Sharks. I believe that's Monday next week.
Yeah.
So going to be some huge games down the stretch for the Preds, including tomorrow against Utah. Nashville currently holds wild card 2 with 84 points, but a point up on the Kings, who have a game in hand, 3 points up on the Sharks, who have 2 games in hand at this point, with just a couple of weeks or a couple of days left to go in the season. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. If you want to join the conversation, you can text or call. Our phone line's driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. We will keep talking Preds when we come back, talk more about the playoff race, and also looking for a new GM. Some names have come out of who the Predators could have as Barry Trotz's successor. We are off and running on this Wednesday morning. Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis, Parker Kelly, next man up, 102.5 The Game. Next man up, 102.5 The Game. Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis, Parker Kelly with you on your Wednesday morning. The Predators, 5-0 winners over the Anaheim Ducks yesterday. Eustace Anaheim, 43 saves and the first shutout of the year for the Preds. They are back in action tomorrow in Utah to wrap up their long West Coast road trip. We will talk Predators playoff picture in just a second. But Trey has called in.
Trey, fresh off the flight from Colombia.
Back-to-back days with Trey. Good morning,
Bogota,
Trey. What's going
Trey.
on?
Let's go.
Good morning, guys. Good morning. How y'all doing?
Doing great.
Hey, I want to tell y'all a story, right? How I became a Titans fan, okay?
All right,
This
let's
won't
keep
be-
it to 8 minutes, Trey.
All right, it won't be long, so right. So I grew up a New Orleans fan. You know what I'm saying? Because I live just north of New Orleans, so I grew up a New Orleans.
What
fan.
era are we talking about? Like
This is the Steve McNair era.
Oh, okay. So this is bad, like Ricky Jackson and those guys.
No. So I started working in Rivergate at Rivergate Mall at Foot Locker. So I'm a diehard.
I worked at Foot Locker.
You worked
Trey,
at Foot Locker?
we both wore the stripes.
Yes. so I really didn't like the Titans that much. I was like, God, please don't send no Titans in here. So one morning I'm sitting there while I'm working, and guess who comes in?
Steve McNair.
Steve comes in. I'm just like trying to avoid him. I'm looking around. So I walk up to him. I say, "Can I help you today, sir?" He was like, "Oh, we just looking around." And I said, "You from Moss Point, right?" He was like, "Yeah, I'm from Moss Point." He said, "Where are you from?" I said, "I'm from Macomb." He was like, "Oh, okay." He said, "What are you doing in Tennessee?" I say, "Man, just working." He said, "Man, keep your head up and do the best you can whatever you do." And I got to give my love to him, because if it weren't for those words, like, I don't know where, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I met Steve McNair, and from that day, I became a Titans fan.
Boom.
And he was the nicest, and humbleness take you a long way in life. You know what I'm saying? And I love y'all, and Columbia was great, and I'm going back in a month, and I'm going to let y'all know how it goes.
Man,
But
Foot
y'all
Locker
have a
pays
good
well
day.
these days.
Huh?
Foot Locker's paying well these days.
No, that was back in the day. I had to grow up out of that. I had to start businesses and stuff. You know what I'm saying? So, everything good, and I had a good trip, and my team as well. And I hope the best for the team. You know what? I think the team gonna dominate the South this coming year. I don't even have to think about it. I know it, because I think we got a great quarterback. I think he's gonna be good.
Wow, Trey.
What happened?
It's like God say believe in him, and I believe in him, and I believe in the coach, and I think he's gonna grow up a lot this year.
What was in that gas that Dennis gave you?
Huh?
What was in that gas that Dennis gave you?
Man, I found this little Colombian lady that got all different kinds of. Hey,
did she have chicken bones and?
No, she just got a lot. Hey, she just got a lot of degrees. That's all.
All right,
there we go.
All right. Sounds like marriage material, Trey.
Huh?
Sounds like marriage material.
Oh, she already married. I got somebody else though.
Thank you for the call, Trey.
Hey, I love y'all.
Bye, Trey.
Bye, Trey.
Bye.
The Adventures of Trey.
He needs his own YouTube channel.
He does. Like, Trey needs to just put a mic in front of his face for like an hour and just see where it goes.
He's like a reoccurring person on Jimmy Kimmel.
Yeah. Or like Legend on the Paul Feinbaum show. Like some of those, like it's just like, are these real people? Is this a character that we're paying to call into the show? No, it is not.
I do appreciate a story about Steve McNair, though. And one of my favorite stories I always heard about Steve McNair was he was coming out of a Kroger. I don't know if it might have been the one in Brentwood. And it was raining a little bit.
Yeah.
But there were a line of people who saw him, and he signed every autograph and started going to his car. And a child ran out of his car with a football as Steve was walking away, and his head sunk, and he was just like devastated. Steve got out of his car in the rain, ran over to him, signed his football, patted him on the head, and moved on. And like Steve is not perfect. None of us really are.
Yeah.
But that kind of stuff tells part of who you are.
Yep. And it's a great story from Trey on why he's a Titans fan.
Yeah, because someone treated him with respect.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line. And
I guess the radio calls were much more favorable of Cam Ward down the stretch of the season. We haven't heard much from Trey since the season ended. So I guess later on in the season, he heard better things from
Taylor
Cam Ward.
Zarzar gave him the juice.
615-737-1025 is the phone number if you want to join the conversation. Back to the Preds here quickly.
Okay.
The Preds, again, in wild card 2, 84 points. They are 1 point up on the Kings and 3 points up on the Sharks. Sharks play tonight against Edmonton. So that's one. If the Sharks were to lose that, they're now 3 points back with only one game in hand.
And Edmonton's got something to play for.
Right. Edmonton is battling, trying to get into the top, or excuse me, they're tied right now for the top spot in the Pacific.
Is this a back-to-back for Edmonton? Didn't they play last night?
I believe they did.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yes, they lost to the Mammoth in overtime 6-5.
Yeah, that's a tough one because they led that game twice. They led 3-0, and then they led 5-4.
Yes.
That was you talk about letting points get away from you. They should be a point up on Anaheim right now.
And no, it's Vegas is who they're tied with.
Oh, okay. They should be a point
right now,
up.
the Pacific is the worst division in hockey, but it is tight. Edmonton 88, Vegas 88, Anaheim 87 points. So any of those teams could get to the top, and the winner of that division likely plays Utah in the opening round of the playoffs, while the other two would play each other.
Kind of tells you why Seattle and San Jose, why their point totals are so high as well.
Right.
Because they're not playing the gauntlet that the Preds play with
Minnesota,
Dallas, and Colorado, and Utah.
Yes.
I mean,
3 of the top 4 teams by points in the league are in the Central Division.
Yeah. Well, and I've said this about the Preds. They're good enough to beat the average teams and the bad teams. They have played an inordinate amount of really good games, really good teams, and they've paid the price for it. And that's not making excuses for them. That's simply saying where they're at.
Yeah.
And it's like the Titans last year. Were they a playoff team? No, but they also played the toughest schedule in football, and they absolutely got hammered for it. And that's just reality. If the Titans had played the Patriots schedule, would they have gone to the Super Bowl? Absolutely not.
No, but they might have had 5 or 6 wins instead of 3.
Yes, especially if they'd gone to Mike McCoy sooner.
That is probably true. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. Preds with a
okay, I'm gonna ask you before we go to break here.
Yeah,
you got $5,000 in the Jake Lyman fund, and you got to push it all in one place, in or out. Where are you going?
Man, that's tough.
I know it's tough. That's why I asked it.
I'm gonna say they get in.
Okay,
I think they're playing well right now.
I think they want it. I think that's unquestionable.
Right.
They want, and Philip Forsberg wants it.
And I look at it, yes, the Kings have an easier schedule down the stretch, but I believe the Kings finish with 3 straight on the road, whereas the Preds finish with 3 straight at home. Yeah. I think the Preds are going to be able to just do enough to get in.
You think they get in with like the tie?
Maybe, yes. Yeah. Like they have the tiebreaker with the Kings, the regulation wins, and I think that might be what pushes them over the top to get in. Like they both finish with 89 or 90 points.
I still think about that point they let get away in Vancouver.
Yeah.
That's just
Well, there's a few like that. Like you look at I always bring up the Montreal game because that one was crazy. Like second week of the season where Cole Caulfield scores with 7 seconds left in the game to send it to overtime.
They have a game where they won it or they pushed overtime by the Preds did by scoring with like less than 2 seconds left.
They did.
They did. I because I'm making a big deal of it. But these things have a way of
they even themselves out.
Yeah.
I mean, you look back at was it the Wild game in overtime where they didn't call the net coming off the bearings?
That's still the worst call I've seen. I mean, and then they gave him the goal.
Right.
I mean, the goal's like 4 feet behind the line. Yeah, that counts.
They said it was a high danger, imminent chance.
Let's count it.
Yeah, let's go home. So you're right. It does even out, but there are definitely points here and there that you look back on. You say, man, if the Preds had just gotten that one, if they missed the playoffs by 1 point, and it's definitely possible with the way the schedule works out down the stretch.
I guess for me, it's not the Kings. It's just they're competing against so many teams right now.
Yeah. Like if the Sharks get hot down the stretch, they could.
The Jets.
Right.
Even the Blues. The Blues losing last night in regulation was big because they played really well. I'd have a hard time pushing that stack.
That game coming up next Monday against the Sharks is going to be that might end up deciding one way or the other, depending on how the Sharks play down the stretch. Like if the Sharks lose tonight and they play tomorrow too against Anaheim. So like if the Sharks lose in regulation each of the next 2 nights, they're probably out of it.
Yeah.
But
Which could happen.
They do have the more opportunities to get points as they still have 6 games remaining. Preds have 4, Kings have 5. 615-737-1025. We have some reaction on the text line. We'll get to that coming up next. Also, some names for the possible successor of Barry Trotz. We will get to that coming up next. Jake Lyman, Cory, Curtis, Parker Kelly, next man up, 102.5 The Game. Next man up, 102.5 The Game. Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis, Parker Kelly with you. 102.5 The Game is teamed up with Pella Windows and the Nashville Humane Association for a puppy pet adoption this Friday at Pella. That's 256 East Main Street in Hendersonville from 4 to 6 p.m. For more details, visit thegamenashville.com/events. We are talking Preds here in hour number 1, getting into the Titans in the 10 o'clock hour. We'll also talk some NSC before this hour wraps up. A scoreless draw with Club America last night in the first leg of their CONCACAF Champions Cup quarterfinals match. But for the Preds, right now in the heat of a playoff race, but also the GM search is starting to heat up. Some names were given out last week. Elliot Friedman came on with DVD, mentioned some of the assistant GMs the Preds are looking at. Brett Peterson with Florida, Bill Scott with Edmonton, Scott White with Dallas. But there's a very interesting name who just came available earlier this week. And
the captain.
Yes, Tom Fitzgerald, who was relieved of his duties as the Devils GM, the first captain of the Nashville Predators. And I thought it was a great conversation DVD had yesterday, Willie Donick and Adam Vingan, about the pros and cons of Tom Fitzgerald. Adam staunchly says they need to go outside the family, and Tom Fitzgerald, as the first captain of the Predators, is too much Predators' way to make him the hire, and you'd have a tough time selling that to fans that he was the best candidate for the job. Willie makes the point that it's been 24 years since Tom Fitzgerald has had any association with the Predators organization. What are your thoughts if Tom Fitzgerald does end up being the name? Is that too much in the family, or is it just a coincidence that he was the first captain of the Predators 25 years ago?
How long had it been since Andrew Burnett was a Predator?
Long time.
And still considered
in the family.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what do we say? First goal in Predators history.
Right.
And Barry still a lot of affinity for him. You can't shake it. All right.
Yeah.
He is going to be considered when you're part of the inaugural team. If he was not a part of the inaugural team, if he played like 6 years in for like 3 years, you wouldn't be saying
was just kind of there for a few years.
But he's the inaugural captain. He's one of Barry's guys. I mean, if he's his captain, he's one of his guys.
Yep.
Is he qualified for the job? Yeah. Yeah, he is.
He has been an NHL GM.
Yeah. Does he? If you want to stick with Andrew Burnett, does he have a relationship with the coach?
Yeah.
You would think so.
Right.
I'm not smart enough to tell you if he's a good hire or not.
Right.
I'm not. Do they have a collection of good young players in New Jersey? Yeah, they do. Have they underachieved this year? Yeah. Is that the GM's fault? I don't know.
Who knows?
I don't know. I'm not smart enough. I don't know. The picking a GM is tough, because it's a leap of faith, and you have to go, by track record. And so, I'd have to take a deep dive in on Tom Fitzgerald and say, who'd you pick? What deals have you made? How have you worked the cap? And you've got to do that with all of them. And, especially if you're going to take a guy who has not been a GM before, then it's really a leap of faith.
Yeah.
And, like with Barry, he had not done it. It's a leap of faith. And so that I guess that's my opinion on that. And is he in or out of the family? He's in the family. There's no way around it. And I don't think you run from it. I just think you say, we know him. And does that mean it guarantees he does a great job? No. Does that mean he's going to do it the way Barry did it? No. But we know him, and we know his character, and we know what he stands for, and we like knowing.
I'm with you that I am not keyed in enough with the front office of NHL teams and how all that works that I could tell you whether Tom Fitzgerald is a good GM or not.
Yeah.
But I think there is gray area here of, yes, if they hire him, it's probably because he's Barry's guy, and they believe that he is going to continue doing things the same way.
Well,
right?
But he's done the job.
Right. And he has worked for a lot of different organizations too. It's not like he was, I think it'd be different if he was the captain. Then he worked as an assistant GM for the Preds for 10 years, spent 5 years in New Jersey and came back. Like, that'd be a lot more black and white. All right, they're just going with somebody in the family.
You know what my biggest memory of Tom Fitzgerald is? When David Poile was announcing his retirement, and they had that draft here in Nashville, and they were making the last pick.
Yeah.
The Preds traded with Tom Fitzgerald to get the last pick so that David Poile could make the last pick of the draft.
Yeah.
And did he take Adam Fink?
That sounds right.
Who looks like he's a pretty good player.
Yeah. The Devils might want that one back. But no, I would prefer just surface level to go outside of the organization.
I will not go there. I will not go, we need to go in or we need to go out.
You just think
give me the best person.
Right. I get what you're saying, and I get what Willie's saying, is that just because he has ties to the organization does not mean that he is not the best candidate.
Yes, exactly.
But I think it would be tough to sell to the fans that he was the best candidate just because you've only had 2 GMs and 4 head coaches in this organization's entire history. And a lot of them have been, all right, well, that's his guy. Like Andrew Brunette was hired because it was Barry Trotz's guy. If you do it again, I just think the fan base in general wants something fresh. They want new ideas from somebody unconnected.
You say that. Who's the head coach of the Anaheim Ducks?
Got us. Oh, is it Quenneville?
Joe Quenneville.
Yeah.
I mean, does any league recycle more than the National Hockey League?
Maybe the NBA.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. So, while you say you want something new, something fresh,
that's just not what the NHL does,
or the NBA.
Yeah,
I mean, those 2 leagues just recycle people in and out of these jobs over and over and over again. So, and maybe they do hire a young guy, that's been an assistant, maybe.
Right.
And again, you're rolling the dice with that. And so, you're saying this guy is more qualified than the guy who's done it.
Yeah. And again, we'd have to do a deeper dive into what Tom Fitzgerald did, what he's responsible for.
There are people, and I will just tap out and say there are
people smarter than us about this. But I thought that was an interesting conversation that Willie and Adam had yesterday about, does he qualify as being part of the family?
Yes.
And I would agree. I think yes, but I think you can look at it and say he has experience with so many different organizations that you would think he's going to take things from everywhere that he's been, and maybe would have a different viewpoint than Barry Trotz would. 615-737-1025 is the phone number if you have thoughts. Chip from Mount Juliet said, need a clean sweep. Nobody connected to the organization. And I think a lot of people have those thoughts, but we'll find out. Probably within the next month or so. I would guess they're going to make a hire, maybe a little longer than that as we lead up to the offseason. 615-737-1025. Tee it up with us at the 5th Annual 615 Open, May 28th at Hermitage Golf Course. We are once again supporting Folds of Honor to help them fund life-changing scholarships for families of America's fallen heroes. You can register now to play or sponsor at 615open.com. Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis, Parker Kelly will wrap up hour number 1 after this on Next Man Up, 102.5 The Game.
Oh, it's Wham! Wham on a Wednesday.
Parker pulling it out on a Wednesday.
I'll tell you what, back in the early 80s, we wore some neon. We wore some neon. and that guy was the neon king for a while.
Yes, sir. Yes, he was. And Parker,
I like his outfit in the music video.
It's very Miami Vice.
It is.
Parker mixes it up on our throwbacks with Cory on Wednesday. Join 102.5 and catch the biggest golf tournament of the year at 5 Iron Golf, located at 202 21st Avenue South in Nashville. 102.5 The Game will be broadcasting live all day, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. tomorrow and Friday. Stop in and enjoy great food, golf, prizes, and more with fellow fans from start to finish. Don't miss it, only at 5 Iron Golf. Cory, before we wrap up this hour,
okay,
how about Nashville SC last night against Club America? Very similar to that first game against Miami in the last round of the CONCACAF Champions Cup, where it was like they got some chances. They just couldn't finish when they got into that final third.
Alex Muil had a wonderful opportunity with just minutes remaining and just airmailed it.
Yep.
Just airmailed it.
And it's not bad, right? Like
no, it's actually a worse outcome.
Right?
It's a worse outcome for Club America than it is for Nashville.
If it had been 1-1, that could have been better for Club America.
Yes, that would have been worse than 0-0.
Right. 0-0 means that Club America had no road goals in this two-leg aggregate.
So a 1-1 tie in Mexico,
right,
just like with Miami, advances for Nashville.
Yep. So Nashville in a decent spot, but obviously wish that they could have capitalized a little more last night.
Well, I guess they're playing at Azteca Stadium.
Yes.
Which Club America hasn't played in like 2 years. And they basically, and I'm not an expert on this, but it's been spelled out to be basically like playing in Thunderdome.
Really?
Yes. So,
and it's we were talking with Nick Frazier about this yesterday. 10:30 Central Time kick next week.
Oh wow!
So 11:30 Eastern Time.
Good thing those guys are young.
I know. And the elevation and all the stuff up there too. Like it's going to be. There are some external factors that are going to impact that game next week.
Yeah, but the thing that's concerning for Nashville is. This is 2 games in a row since they came back.
You haven't scored,
we haven't scored, and like teams have had a little while to adjust now to what Nashville SC is throwing out there.
Yeah,
but they are still getting some opportunities that they need to finish, and so that needs to change. I would say I'm not overly concerned about it because Sam Surridge has proven he can finish.
Yep,
Hani Mukhtar should have had a goal in Chicago. Keeper made a great save to stop him. But like Jason Palacios had a couple opportunities in Chicago he couldn't convert. And then Muil last night, you at least got to put it on the net.
Yeah,
that thing wasn't close. He's just wide open. Boing. So yeah, you'd like to see them. You don't in this level of soccer, you don't get a ton of opportunities,
right?
And so you have to be skilled enough to finish them, and they didn't even give themselves really a chance on many of them.
Nashville SC still at the top of the Eastern Conference in the MLS regular season standings, and you're in the quarterfinals with a chance to go play for a championship in the CONCACAF Championship.
Not a lot of subbing last night, though, either.
Yeah.
Which guys played.
Again, next week, maybe the elevation plays a role there, too. But you said Club America hasn't played there in a while either, so,
I guess it's been 2 years since they played there. I guess I am not an expert on Mexican soccer, but I guess this is a hallowed place to play.
Right. So it's going to be a fun week. Nashville, they're in Charlotte coming up on Saturday. So they'll take on Charlotte 6:30 p.m. down at Bank of America Stadium, and then out to Mexico to play next Tuesday. Again, 10:30 kick. And I'm forgetting who is on the other side of that bracket that they would play if they move on. Because I know the LA teams are on the other side. Yeah, I guess that's true.
LA played last night. They were up 1-0 last night.
So it's a Mexican club and Seattle. So Tigres and Seattle.
And Seattle won this tournament last time around.
Yes.
And that's how they were in the World Club Cup.
And their first match, the first leg is tonight. So that would be the matchup if Nashville is able to advance next week. So lots of good stuff going on for the boys in gold. Again, they had a loss and a draw in their first 2 games back.
It's going to be tough, but there are things that point in their favor.
Yes. So. And again, it's just like last time out against Miami. as soon as somebody scores, a draw means Nashville advances.
Yes.
So a scoreless
Yes.
draw would have to go to
So if they fall behind 1-0, don't freak out.
right. It's basically like it's tied at that point,
Well, no, it's not.
isn't it?
Because if Mexico, if Club
yeah.
America scores, they're
Right, I guess that's true. Yes.
yeah. But all they need to do is tie. You don't need 2 goals.
Right.
And I guess you go into this game saying we don't need 2 goals to win.
Right.
We need one.
We need one,
and to keep them to 1 or less.
Yep. So good things happening for Nashville SC. Again, leg 2 coming up next Tuesday. Quickly before we wrap up, I did want to mention the Preds announcing a new way to watch their games next year. So, it's going to be nice that there's a free direct to consumer. They've got streaming, but it'll also be over the air on a new, is it
channel 28?
Yeah, 28 is going to be the spot to watch.
Because when I first heard it, I go, oh, they're going to be on channel 5. That's great. But we all learn new ways to watch things. The fact that it will be free to consumers, I think is a huge win for consumers. And again, I continue to say, as the networks struggle to put quality primetime programming on the air, I mean, the NBC showing a lot of basketball right now.
Yeah.
I mean, and you're going to see more and more of this. And I think, I could be wrong, I think you're going to see more of these local deals with teams to put them on the air.
I think so too.
And so it'll be interesting.
It never really made sense to me to put all of it behind a paywall the way they have. Like, I know the regional sports networks, they had to make money too, but like, people want to watch your games and the advertising should reflect that too.
Well,
right.
And in the end, the NFL is just starting to push that envelope. People have loved being able to watch the NFL for free. I mean, one of the great parts about the NFL is the triple header on Sunday.
Yep.
And just being able to go, okay, I don't have to jump through hoops to watch these games.
Yep.
I might have to change the channel, but it's not hard to go from
CBS to Fox or whatever it is. Yeah.
I mean, so that's not difficult. It'll be interesting to see eventually, because the NFL is going to push it. They're going to push it. They're going to keep pushing.
Yeah.
But these other leagues are kind of coming back.
Yeah. I think you're going to see the pendulum swings, and it's going to come back at some point. But yeah, I think the NFL, to watch every game this year, you need to have 10 different streaming services.
Yeah. And that's
crazy.
That's not cool.
615-737-1025 is the phone number. Again, the Preds, new way to watch. Channel 28, The Spot is the name. So I'd
be interested what the rest of that channel looks like.
Yeah.
I mean, because basically let everybody know, we all have, like, on the digital tier, you have like sub channels.
Right.
All right. So in like, they have different networks, like the My TV network and the Me TV network and the whatever network. And you can watch great old shows like Adam 12 and Emergency, and occasional other new programming. So we all have these sub channels, and then there are, Fox here has been partnered with the CW for a long time.
Right. Yeah.
The company I work for, Nexstar, has been taking over the CW.
Right.
And I'm not sure if we own it right now or not. Like the network. I think we might own the whole network now.
I saw something about that, but I don't know.
Yeah. So that's interesting. But so there are different. We have more than one channel. We also have a streaming channel now. Like we have WKRM Plus, now, which, by the way, have Sports Extra Daily every day from 6:30 to 7. If you want to watch. By the way, it's 7 days a week now.
Yeah.
This last weekend we went to 7 days a week. I'm going to be by myself on Sunday. Jake, if you would like to call in and be a part of that show,
it very possible.
Okay.
From 6:30 to 7, you said?
Yeah.
Okay. I might be able to make that work.
All right, we'll talk about it.
As his boss, I'll tell him he has to do it.
Chase McCabe making a cameo. 615-737-1025. We will talk some draft when we come back. Some Titans rumors. Also, some developments with Vanderbilt prospects this week. We'll get into all of it in hour number 2. Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis, Parker Kelly. Next man up, 102.5 The Game. Next man up, 102.5 The Game. Second hour on this Wednesday. Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis from News 2. Parker Kelly broadcasting live from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville Studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. Let's talk draft. We are 15 days away from the NFL draft in Pittsburgh. The Titans will pick 4th overall, and we have beat this horse for the past 3 months getting ready for the draft. But
you're waiting.
That's what draft season is all about. And a lot of the discussion has been around Jeremiah Love or the 3 pass rushers, Reuben Bain, David Bailey, and Arvell Reese. There's been some smoke this week about Carnell Tate being a top 5 pick in this draft. That doesn't mean to the Titans, but there's been some rumblings about, hey, I'm hearing that teams are higher on Carnell Tate.
I saw
than
somebody
say
he could be 2.
That was Daniel Jeremiah. And it's my favorite thing that I've heard all week. He goes, if he was 205 pounds and ran a 4.42 40, he could be the 2nd overall pick in the draft.
Yeah.
Like, yes, if he was bigger and faster, he could possibly go higher in the draft.
I heard that shot too, and I went, Daniel, come on now.
I thought that was hilarious. I'm like,
he's not. That's why he's not the 2nd pick.
If Diego Pavia was 6'3", he probably would go higher in the draft.
He'd be the 2nd pick. Yeah. By the way, Diego visiting with the Panthers this week on the top 30.
Yes.
And I actually think that's great for him because I think Canales is a good coach.
Yeah.
And a good quarterbacks coach.
And he knows how to deal with short quarterbacks.
Well, I mean, yeah, but that's the thing is he's an inch shorter than Bryce.
Yes, that sounds right.
And so if Bryce gets hurt, you replace him with the same guy.
Right. I mean, that's what we saw in Baltimore is the one where we talk about it the most. Like, you have Lamar Jackson and Tyler Huntley. Like, it worked out when Lamar Jackson got hurt. Tyler Huntley came in, and you probably had to tone down the offense. He's not as good of a passer as Lamar, but you can still run all the read option stuff. So
I think Diego would be a good match there as well. And I think, but when I heard that, I'm like, that if he could go to them in like the 6th round, that'd be a good spot. And I know this isn't our conversation. He's going to start a game at some point in the National Football League. And I want to be front row when that happens.
I think it's going, man, that's tough. There's usually an opportunity for a lot of young quarterbacks if they get drafted to start a game. Like even I think back to the Titans 4-man class of the 2018 draft. Even Luke Falk, I believe, got chances to start in like New York with the Jets. So like you never know. Right. He was awful. Do you know can you name the entire draft class of the 2018 for the Titans? 4 players. Luke Falk's one of them.
No.
Rashawn Evans, Harold Landry.
Okay.
And Dane Cruikshank was the other one.
The other 3 weren't bad.
No, it turned out to be it's small draft class, maybe the smallest you'll ever see. But
they got snaps out of Rashawn, but he was why you don't pick a middle linebacker in the 1st round.
Yeah. I liked Rashawn Evans coming out of Alabama. Like what he showed.
Well, there was him and there was Leighton Vander Esch.
Yes.
Those were the 2 guys.
And Rashawn Evans was great at one thing, and that was blowing up short yardage situations. Yeah. I mean, how many 4th and 1 stops did he have? A lot. But he didn't do much else very well.
No, he was not great, which is why he did nothing after he left the Titans after 4 years.
Right. Anyway, quick tangent there back to 2018. But the Titans at number 4, wide receiver it's a need. Like you do need to go find a young, talented, possible wide receiver 1 for your young quarterback in Cam Ward. Now, Carnell Tate may be the best wide receiver available, but I don't see him as a top 5 pick, even in this class that lacks top end talent.
Yeah. Look, I've been vocal about Carnell Tate, and I appreciate what PK said earlier in the show before us.
Yeah.
I'm not a draft expert.
Right.
I look, do I watch some tape? Yeah. All right. But I'm not an expert. Do I study the mocks? Yes. Do I read a bunch? Yes. My thing about Carnell Tate, and I think PK is right, you can't get too hung up on the 4.53.
I agree.
Because Jerry Rice was not a burner, and he was pretty good. Anquan Bolden was slow, and he was pretty darn good. But for me, the problem with Carnell Tate is the numbers.
Yep.
And that is when you look at the schedule for the Ohio State Buckeyes, when they played quality opponents, his numbers were mediocre at best. And that was with Jeremiah Smith on the other side of the field. So you can't say, well, they're rotating coverage over to him. Right. No, they're all trying to stop that guy.
Yes.
All right. And this is the game where you should be blowing up. All right. So I haven't seen enough production from Carnell Tate. And my lasting impression of him is gator arming it in the college football playoffs.
Yep.
And so I am not in the top 5 taking that. And I think as PK said, if he was available at 19, 20, 21, would I be okay? Yeah. But not with the collection of players that are available to me at 4. It's not even a consideration.
Yes. That's where I am too. If you trade back, like let's say the Titans find a trade partner, maybe the Chiefs, and you move back to 9 and Carnell Tate slips to 9, I would have no problem taking Carnell Tate at 9.
I'd rather have Mekhi Lemon.
I think there are a lot of people who feel that way. But I also look at it as like Tate probably is a more complete wide receiver.
Mm-hmm.
I could see both of them are probably going to be top 10 to 12 picks. But I would feel better about taking those two if I'm getting an extra second or a second and a third next year, because you're adding more value to the pick.
Yeah.
But if I walk out of day 1 of the draft with just Carnell Tate and you had the 4th overall pick, I don't feel good about that.
Well, it's kind of like our Ruben Bain conversation of last week when you were like, I like Ruben Bain, I just don't like him before, but I don't think it's as severe. For me,
yeah.
Like if I have Ruben Bain and Carnell Tate available at 9, I know where I'm going.
You're going Bain?
Oh yeah.
That'd be a tough conversation for me because I think both of them are players I would be fine taking at 9.
Okay, let me ask you this: so you could get Bain at 9, or you could get like Zion Young at 35, and you could get Carnell Tate at 9, or you can get like Denzel Boston at 35.
It's a good way of framing it, and maybe that's part of the conversation.
I like Bain and Boston in that situation.
I would agree with you there, and I think that. Obviously, the Titans aren't picking at 9, but maybe that's part of the conversation is what position do you feel like is deeper? Mm-hmm. Like the guy you are going to have on the board at 35 at wide receiver, how does that compare to the cluster of guys who could be there at 35? That could play into a role as well. But I don't think Carnell Tate is one of the, like, when you take a receiver in the top 5, you want him to be Jamar Chase. You want him to be Malik Neighbors. You want him to be what Jeremiah Smith is expected to be next year.
Yeah, you want him to be that dude.
Carnell Tate is think of some of the other guys who have gone top 5. Megatron, Calvin Johnson.
Well, we had the conversation before the show about the Jalen Waddle trade.
Right.
I mean, this is a 1,000-yard receiver in the National Football League.
And
we were both okay with Miami trading him.
Yeah.
Because we're like, he's okay. He's good, but you're not like game planning going, oh, what are we going to do? Jalen Waddle's coming to town.
Jalen Waddle's a low-end wide receiver 1, I would say.
Yeah, maybe.
I think Jalen Waddle, I think
he's a high-end 2.
His peak is like Calvin Ridley's prime. Like Ridley was like a 1,400-yard receiver with the Falcons. I think that's what you expect out of Jalen Waddle in his prime.
I think he's a really cool Robin. Not the Robin from the 1960s Batman, but like a cool modern-day Robin.
I like that. I think that this draft is deep at wide receiver, but there aren't blue chip players there. And this brings us back to a conversation we had on Monday. We're going to get to this in the next segment.
There's a lot of guys I like at 35.
I agree. There's a lot of wide receivers I like at 35. Even at 66, I think I like a lot of wide receivers. I don't love a ton at 4.
I don't like any of them.
Did you see the clip of Mina Kimes and Nate Tice from this week talking about Jeremiah Love and his value to a team?
No, I did not.
We're going to get to that coming up next. Okay. We discussed it on Monday, but I really wanted to get Cory's thoughts on the way this was framed. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. If you want to join the conversation, our phone and text line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. All of our football offseason coverage is brought to you by Tennessee Brewworks. From kickoff to last call, Tennessee Brewworks is the official craft beer of the football offseason coverage on ESPN 1025 The Game. More Titans talk coming up on the other side. Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis, Parker Kelly. Next man up, 1025 The Game. Next man up, 102.5 The Game. Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis from News 2, Parker Kelly with you, talking Titans on this Wednesday afternoon. The NFL draft is just 15 days away, 2 weeks from tomorrow, and there's going to be debate all the way until Roger Goodell reads the card on Thursday night about what the Titans are going to do at 4.
They're really the team that everybody's talking about the most, which is
Right.
really unusual.
I mean, I think with New York, it's going to be one of the pass rushers. Like, it's going to be Reese or Bailey. You just don't know which one. Arizona and Tennessee
Tate was 2 inches taller and 0.2 faster
and ran a 4.25.
He'd be it.
So I think what the Jets are going to do, at least generally.
Yeah.
Cardinals and Titans, I think, is where the draft really starts, and you don't know. Like, there's so many avenues you could go.
Yeah.
Jeremiah Love has been a large topic of discussion around the NFL. And there was a very interesting clip from the weekend with Mina Kimes and Nate Tice talking about the value of a running back in the top 10. We played this on Monday, but wanted to get Cory's thoughts on this about the value of a running back early in the draft. Here's what they had to say.
When you guys look at the top 10, do any teams, based on need, the state of their roster, make sense? Because I keep hearing there's no way he makes it out of the top 10. All right. Do any of these teams make sense to you?
Any in the top 10? No. It's not that I don't think Love is worthy of a high pick. It's just that in a team building sense, I would scream at all these teams and say, you have so much more than you need than a running back that I think is a cherry on top to what you have. Even the guys like that broke out and had amazing rookie years like Ezekiel Elliott. That was because of other circumstances of them having a high pick. And they had an amazing O-line with a quarterback at the time, Romo, that turned into Dak.
The Cowboys point brings me to the other thing that gets mentioned a lot, which is like, well, you got to help your young quarterback. We are all on this pod Cam Ward fans, Titans fans. When you look back at the young quarterbacks, year 1 or 2, who broke out, and you look at the conditions, every single one of them, I made a list right now, had either a wide receiver 1, like a legit dude, or, and this is what you would say with the 2016 Cowboys, Dak Prescott, an elite offensive line. Very few of them had elite running backs, to be honest. It's wide receiver, offensive line. And then people say, well, he's a weapon. It's not entirely fair to limit this to EPA when you're talking about receiving. Last year, total receiving EPA, Christian McCaffrey ranked 34th, expected points added, which is basically looking at every single play and asking how much does this get you closer to scoring a touchdown. It's your most totalistic way to look at value. Christian McCaffrey was 34th behind Parker Washington. Bijan Robinson was 55th behind Ulick Ayumanor. EPA per play, the highest ranked was Bijan Robinson, who was 85th behind Juwan Johnson. A pass-catching running back is absolutely useful. And if you tell me Kyle Shanahan's coming with him, maybe we'll have a different conversation. But by and large, this is not the best way to add value, not just to a team and salary and all of that, but to help your young quarterback. You need receivers.
I've looked at those kind of numbers before, and it was basically the best receiving running backs are worth like a solid tight end or like a number 3 receiver.
Yes.
At best.
Hand me CMC. Stop it.
So that was Mina Kimes on her show, her podcast with Nate Tice from Yahoo Sports. And I agree with most of what they had to say there. That yes, in terms of value, a wide receiver 1 is more valuable than a running back.
We've been looking for a wide receiver 1 like the Preds have been looking for a first-line center.
Right.
And you won't find any Titans fan who disagrees with that.
And it's the same mindset that I had heading into draft season when you didn't really have a good gauge of what players were going to be worth and what their value is going to be. Was taking a running back at 4, it's a luxury pick. That's a pick you make when you have everything else. She mentions the Cowboys. Like, Tony Romo got hurt the year before that season. That's why they were picking in the top 5. They took Ezekiel Elliott. I agree with that philosophy overall, blanket. But in this year's draft, like, I want you to show me where the more valuable picks are. Like, I agree with them. Helping the wide receiver, helping the offensive line, that is more valuable to Cam Ward. But who are you going to take? Like, if
that wide receiver 1 isn't there before. I mean, just because you need it's like we always say, you pay a guy $30 million, it doesn't make him a $30 million player. It just makes him a player who makes $30 million.
Yes.
All right. Just because you pick a guy at number 4 doesn't make him
worthy of a top 5 pick.
Doesn't make him a number 4 pick in ability. And look, if Carnell Tate screamed at me wide receiver 1 for the Titans, I would be the first in line 100%. To say, make the pick. If Jeremiah Smith was in this draft, I would say turn in the card.
He would go second overall.
I'd say trade up.
Yep.
Go get him. I think he can be that dominant of a player. But I don't think that way about Carnell Tate. And as we've had discussions about running backs, and I am generally not one for picking a running back this high
Agreed.
either.
Yep.
But I think Jeremiah Love is special. And I think we're getting a little bit over the top in not drafting a running back and saying, well, it's not the way to go. Look, the Raiders are terrible. That's why Ashton Genty wasn't able to do anything. They were bad at quarterback, and they were bad on the offensive line. The Titans have a quarterback. All right? They have a quarterback. The Titans, when they had Steve McNair, they got Eddie George.
Yep.
All right? Walter Payton was a Chicago Bear before Jim McMahon came along. I believe the Dallas Cowboys won one game with Troy Aikman as a rookie.
And then they added Emmitt Smith.
So they were still terrible. And they had just had their quarterback for a year, and they added a Hall of Fame running back with the most rushing yards in NFL history. Nobody brings that up right now. The issue that I've got with this is drafting your running back before you have a quarterback. The Titans have their quarterback. They can draft a running back if they want to, and not to be average, but to be special.
Yes. And Jeremiah Love, by most accounts, is, if not the best player in the draft, he's in the top 3. By most of the big board rankings, he's 1, 2, or 3.
And at running back, there's Jeremiah Love, and there's everybody else.
Yes. And so Justin Graver on Twitter, he's Titans Film Room, he put out a big response to this video about why EPA is a flawed system to evaluate these running backs, and talked about the same thing we said, that, yes, great, you tell me that a wide receiver is more valuable. Who am I going to take? Mina Kimes then responded and said that she believes a B+ wide receiver is more valuable than an A+ running back. And I disagree there. I think if it was close, if it's an A wide receiver versus an A+ running back, sure. But a B+, like,
but here's where I will counter that.
Yeah,
maybe, but I can get a B+ receiver at number 35.
Yes, that's a good point too. When I think of B+ wide receiver, I think of like Devontae Smith with the Eagles. Like, I think that's your B+ wide receiver.
Jalen Waddle.
Right. Jalen Waddle, I think would be, you could sneak him into A- territory, but yeah.
DJ Moore with the Bears.
Right.
I mean,
the Bills now.
With the Bill, yeah. But what he was with the Bears. I mean, there are plenty of guys who are like, hey, that guy, he's not the dude, but he's really good.
Yeah.
And they certainly, the guy in Cincinnati.
T. Higgins.
Probably the best B+ receiver there is.
Yeah.
But again, what round was T. Higgins taken?
He was first pick of the second round. Yep.
Titans are picking 35. You can get that guy at 35. You can't get the other guy at 35. You can get him at 4.
Yeah. And that's where I struggle with it, of like a B+ wide receiver at number 4. Like, if that's what you're going to tell me, is that you'd rather take a B+ wide receiver 4th overall over a guy who is viewed as the best prospect in the draft just because of position. I agree wholeheartedly with what they're saying. In most drafts, when you're a team that's rebuilding and you have a lot of needs at premium positions, it doesn't make sense to take a running back. But if David Bailey and Arvell Reese are off the board 2 and 3, tell me who else you're going to take who is a better player at a premium position. Yeah. There's nobody.
Yeah, because Styles and
Downs
are not premium positions.
Right. Bain, I think, you have questions about what position he would end up playing.
Well, I don't have a question about that. The only question is arm length.
Well, arm length, you might have to bump him inside. Like, that's part of it.
I think he can play both. I think he can play edge, play defensive end in a 4-3 and tackle. I think he could play end, and in pass situations, you could slide him inside.
Yeah,
if you
kind of like John Franklin Myers, it has been used.
Yeah, I don't have much question about that. But there's
nobody who jumps off the page to you. Like, no. I brought it up on Monday. If this was 2 years ago, the 2024 draft, and you had Marvin Harrison Jr., Joe Alt, and Malik Neighbors, yeah, you take all 3 of those guys ahead of Jeremiah Love as prospects. Again, not knowing what we know now, those guys are premium position players who you look at and you say, that's a wide receiver 1, or that's my franchise left tackle.
Yep.
But
we're not there.
Yeah. With Jeremiah Love on the board, I'd rather have him over Carnell Tate or Jordan Tyson or Francis Mauigoa.
Jordan Tyson's like middle of the first round at best now.
I saw Matt Miller said
they're
that
killing
he thinks
guy.
He might slip out of the top 20.
They're killing him. They're killing him. Look, I equate it to this, and I've said this, and I will continue to say this. Give me guys who can score touchdowns or guys who can hit the quarterback.
Yeah.
That's what I want there.
And
that guy scores touchdowns.
I would take David Bailey ahead of Jeremiah Love, but if Bailey's off the board, I think I would be rooting for Roger Goodell to read Jeremiah Love's name off that card, because I just think when you look at this draft class where there is a lack of top-end talent at your premium positions, pass rush, tackle, wide receiver, just take the guy who you think is going to be a star.
Yeah.
And Jeremiah Love looks like the most surefire star in this class.
I agree. I mean, like, and I understand that they, like we do, have a lot of time to fill.
Yeah.
And so you've got to make all the different arguments. And so, there is an argument for not taking Jeremiah Love at number 4. And sure, you can make that you can make the argument that Sonny Styles is the most gifted athletic freak
Very true.
in this draft, and that he should go 2nd overall. You can make that argument. So we are continuing to make the argument. Yes, you can make those arguments. The thing you cannot argue against is that Jeremiah Love is the best running back in this draft. It's not even close.
Yep.
And he would immediately become, and I don't think that this gets enough consideration, he would immediately become the biggest weapon the Titans have on offense, the most dangerous weapon they have on offense. And he is on the field every play.
You immediately plug in somebody that defensive coordinators have to plan against. And that makes things easier on Cam Ward. It makes things easier on your young wide receivers. So you look at it and you say a big part of this upcoming season is Cam Ward taking a jump, but it's also Chim Dike taking a jump, and Gunnar Helm and Alec Iamaner. When the defense has to key in on Jeremiah Love as a runner and a receiver, that makes things easier for everybody else.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, when you can take a 20-yard run and turn it into an 80-yard touchdown, that makes it easier on everybody else.
Right.
I mean, how often did Derrick Henry make a Titans team that's very average on offense not so average because he was special?
Yeah.
He was special. There was nobody else on the offense. After AJ left, there was nobody else on the offense that was special, but they were still winning games.
Agreed.
Right? They were still winning games. And then they weren't. And, because they didn't have strong enough play on the offensive line. They didn't have strong enough play at quarterback. I mean, that's all there was to it.
And they do make the argument of your offensive line isn't good enough right now, but it's not. That's irrelevant. Tell me how I'm going to upgrade it with the 4th overall pick.
They have invested in it, and they will continue to invest in it. But to use another to have 3 top 10 picks on your offensive line
in 4 years
is irresponsible.
Yep, I agree. 615-737-1025. We will take your thoughts on our phone and text line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Today, the Nashville Sounds take on Gwinnett, the AAA team for the Atlanta Braves. First pitch is at 5:35. Catch all of the action on 94.9 The Fan, presented by Family Leisure and Social Cantina. We'll keep talking draft coming up next. Vanderbilt has a couple of big-name prospects in the draft this year, and there were some developments with both of them. We touched on Diego Pavia in the last segment, but Eli Stowers, there was a report coming out about maybe a change in position, or at least where he's being evaluated heading into this year's draft. We'll talk about it next. Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis, Parker Kelly, next man up, 102.5 The Game. Next man up, 102.5 The Game. Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis with you on this Wednesday. Getting ready for the NFL draft, just over 2 weeks away. And Titans are obviously going to get most of the focal point, the attention around here as we lead up to the draft. But Vanderbilt does have a couple of very interesting prospects heading into the NFL draft. And let's start with Eli Stowers. We were talking about him during the break. Ian Rappaport reported earlier this week that several teams are evaluating Vanderbilt tight end Eli Stowers as a wide receiver. And I guess I get it. You look at his measurables. Mm-hmm. He is 6'4", 240. I mean, it'd be a big wide receiver.
Yep.
But he ran a 4.51. It's faster than Carnell Tate did. And he jumped out of the gym 45.5-inch vertical. So, I mean, you look at it and it makes sense. But as we talked about during the break, Cory, it's like you're taking away his advantage in the matchups of like, if he's having to face a cornerback on the outside, he's not going to be able to use his athleticism quite as much as he would against a safety or a linebacker when he lines up at tight end.
I guess you could say, well, we like his size against a 5'11", 200-pound corner. And maybe, but the comp I hear is Mike Evans. And Mike Evans is about 6'5", 235.
Right.
But Mike Evans is, as we've talked about in the break, the best vertical player in the National Football League, over the last 15 years.
Yeah.
And Tyreek Hill is also up there, but he's a little bit different. He's a lot of run after catch. When you're talking about just straight vertical guys, Mike Evans to me is the best. He's also the best jump ball guy in the NFL. Do I think Eli could do some of those things in the National Football League? Yes. But if you're saying, hey, we think he can be Mike Evans, that's a stretch. That's a stretch. I like him against safeties and linebackers.
I agree. And just thinking back, and maybe I'm forgetting, but I watched a lot of Eli Stowers at Vanderbilt over the last few years. I've been at every single home game. I don't remember him being a big, throw it up and go get it off the top shelf type of guy. He was more of a guy who's going to beat you with his quickness as a tight end rather than, hey, run a seam route and you're going to go up over two safeties and haul it in. I'm sure there's examples of it, but I don't remember him being like a 50-50 ball guy. Mm-hmm. He was more of a matchup nightmare as a tight end for these teams he faced.
62 catches last year for 769, 49 for 638, the year before that, 4, 5, 9 touchdowns over the last 2 years at Vanderbilt, 12 yards per catch. Against Texas, had a huge game. Had a huge game. And so, look, do I think you can deploy him different ways? Sure. But to say he's just a straight wide receiver, I think, and I think that's doing him a disservice. But these guys get paid a lot more money, than I do. I told you the story during the break, and I'll tell it right now. When Eli got to Vanderbilt, he got there with Diego, so there was still nothing expected from this team.
Yeah.
So we were still kind of casually watching them at that point. But I watched 3 or 4 games, and I called a friend of mine who was a scout with the Titans, and I was like, "Hey, dude, have you watched this Eli Stowers kid at Vanderbilt?" He's like, "Who?" I said, "Eli Stowers. He's the new tight end." He goes, "No, I never heard of him." And I'm like, "I think he's a first-round pick." And he's like, "What?" I said, "I think he's a first-round pick." He's like, "Well, I never heard of him." I'm like, "Well, you better hear of him." And that was kind of the end of our conversation. And the point is, the moment I saw Eli Stowers on the football field, I went, wow, that guy can play. That guy, I mean, he is a tough matchup. He can run. He can do things with the ball. He's never fumbled. In his college career, he's never fumbled.
Wow.
So, he's a good kid. You're not going to have a problem with him off the field. I don't think you'll have a problem with him with money or handling the lifestyle. I don't think any of those things are going to be the problem. He has excelled in stepping up in competition from New Mexico to Vanderbilt. So I like that. I like guys who are able to handle the upgrade in the competition against them. But he's a tight end. And I like him with 5 more pounds on him than I do. I guess you could take 5 pounds off of him.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I mean, that's probably the debate is, are you going to have him bulk up to be a true NFL tight end, or are you going to have him slim down to go play on the outside?
You talked about Travis Kelce, who was also a quarterback.
Yeah.
I kind of like that comp for him and the style of player he can be, because Travis is a yards after catch guy.
Right.
And I think Eli is more of that yards after catch guy. Evan Ingram is the other guy who I use as a comp for him.
Yeah, I think with Travis Kelce, obviously that like just like Mike Evans, that's a very strong comp to make.
But the style of player.
Right. I think it's just one of those guys who he's not going to be a great blocker, but he's going to get open. Like that's what Travis Kelce has always been. I wouldn't say Kelsey's been an elite athlete, which Stowers has.
Pretty good athlete.
He's a good athlete.
But long. Both of them have great catch radiuses.
Right. And I think it's just Stowers has a feel for things. And maybe that's partially it's just the connection with Diego Pavia.
Well, maybe also it was playing quarterback.
That's true.
And seeing space.
Knowing, coverages.
This is where space opens up.
Right. So I really like Eli Stowers. I don't know if it's going to fit for the Titans to take him.
If he is on the board at 66, isn't that where they pick?
Yes.
And I don't expect him to be, but there's always someone there you don't expect to be.
Yeah.
If he was on the board at 66 and they took him, I would applaud that pick.
I don't think I would be upset with it at all. I mean, because I do think I said to you during the break, I don't think he's a 30s type of guy, like early second round, but I would guess he goes between 45 and like 60.
I will say this. I think he's the kind of guy somebody trades up for.
That's true.
I think there's somebody who says, we need to get this guy. We have the 54th pick. We're going to trade up to 48 and make sure we get him.
Yeah.
And I could be wrong about that.
And I think, just off the top of my head, I want to say this is like a tight end class that has a pretty steep drop off. Like Kenyon Sadiq is the guy being talked about as a first round pick. Then it's Eli Stowers. I want to say the next guy is probably more of a day 3 pick, unless I'm forgetting somebody.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think there's a few guys ww fall into that day 3 category. And, that's not unusual.
Max Clare from Ohio State, Sam Roush. Like, I think they're probably 4th round guys, 5th round guys, but I think you pretty much have 2 tight ends on the board that you think are going to be difference makers, and that's Sadiq and Stowers.
Who are some of the first round tight ends we've seen come out in recent years? There was Fant and Hawkinson, who both came out in 19 out of Iowa. And Hawkinson blew up for a while, but has faded. Fant has never lived up to that billing.
Let's see. So last year, Colston Loveland and Tyler Warren both went in the first round.
And you know what?
Both of them were really good.
Both of them are friggin' stars.
Brock Bowers, obviously, in 24.
Yeah.
Dalton Kincaid in 2023.
Good player.
Good.
That's another really good player.
Trey McBride in 2022
led the league in receptions.
He was a second round pick, but he was the first off the board.
Yeah, he should have been a first rounder.
Kyle Pitts.
And he's just he had a great year last year. He's never lived up to the hype, but his numbers have started coming. Look, if you drafted a tight end in the first round, one of these guys, and you got one of those guys, you'd be pretty thrilled.
No, I think you look and say most of the first and second round picks that have been made at tight end have turned out to be pretty darn good players, like Sam Laporta a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Ben Sinnott, he's with the Commanders. I don't really know him.
No, he's like their third. He's out of Kansas State.
But like Pat Fryermuth, and
that's a long time ago.
That was 2021.
Fryermuth's only been in the league for 5 years.
Yeah,
I thought he's been in the league for like 10.
Yeah. So I think drafting tight ends early, typically there's a pretty high hit rate.
So I was a big Tyler Warren guy coming out last year.
Yeah,
like I really like Tyler Warren. And when the Bears passed on him for Colston Loveland, I was pretty devastated. Colston Loveland was really good.
Colston
Second half of the season, arguably the Bears' best offensive player.
Right. I think it was kind of like the Emeka Egbuka, Tet McMillan thing of the first half of the season. Yeah. Panthers fans were like, man, we could have had Egbuka instead of McMillan. Yeah. And then by the end of the year, you're like, all right, I feel pretty good with Tet McMillan.
Yeah, Colston Loveland, I mean, I dead wrong, really impressed.
Yeah.
Wow, did he become a good player?
Tyler Warren, I think what you got to see in the college football playoff with Penn State, like it really impressed you. Also a former quarterback, Tyler Warren.
Yeah, I think the other part with Tyler Warren is when he lost Daniel Jones, that lost their ability to do a lot of the things they wanted to do on offense.
That's a good point.
I mean, I like coming into this year, I fully expect Tyler Warren to be their best offensive player. I just do.
Yeah, him and Jonathan Taylor, that gives them 2 really good options. And, He signed Alec Pierce to the big deal too.
Yeah.
So 615-737-1025 is our phone number. We'd love to hear from you. Our phone and text line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. We'll get your thoughts on Eli Stowers possibly being evaluated as a wide receiver heading into the draft. And also Diego Pavia with a busy week. He's visiting the Carolina Panthers, as we talked about earlier. Also went on John Gruden's quarterback show.
Yeah, he
so
did.
we'll
I
talk.
love the
Don't
confidence.
spoil
talk about-
anything for me. I haven't had the chance to see it.
Okay. We will talk Pavia on the other side.
I'm just going to tell you this. It looks like you'd expect it to.
615-737-1025. Jake Lyman, Corey Curtis, Parker Kelly. Next man up. 1025 the game. Getting rickrolled on this Wednesday morning. Jake Lyman, Corey Curtis, Parker Kelly. Next man up. 1025 the game. Let's give something away here. We've been giving away these tickets to Supercross all week long. Be caller number 3 at 615-737-1025, and you will win a 4-pack of tickets to the Monster Energy SMX World Championship races at Nissan Stadium on Saturday, April 11th, coming up this weekend. Caller number 3 at 615-737-1025 will win 4 tickets to the Monster Energy SMX World Championship races. Wrapping up hour number 2 here, looking at the 2 big Vanderbilt prospects in the NFL draft. Eli Stowers, the report from Ian Rappaport this week came out that he was possibly being evaluated as a wide receiver. We'll see how that pans out, where he ends up going, likely to be a day 2 pick. Diego Pavia is a very interesting case study this year, because I think you look at the way he performed over the last 2 years and what he was able to do at Vanderbilt, getting them to their first 10-win season this year, beating Alabama 2 years ago. There's a lot to be impressed with, and I think he really improved as a thrower this past year. He was a much better passer this season, but there also were red flags, right? Like, he's not very big, and
5'9".
Right, he's 5'9",
yeah.
And there are personality issues. You know, the way he handled the Heisman loss is probably being talked about in NFL draft rooms. So it's interesting to look at where he could go. I think he's a draft pick, probably 6th round, could fall to the 7th. Maybe somebody takes him to the 5th, but I would say late day 3 is probably where we look for Diego Pavia.
Yeah, I mean, because, you know, look, Russell Wilson went in the 3rd round.
Yeah.
And he's 5'10".
Yes, that sounds
Kyler
right.
Murray went 1st overall. How tall is he? They list him at 6 feet, but there's no way.
Yeah, he's not 6 feet tall.
He's Grogu, man. He's like Grogu from The Mandalorian. It didn't matter with those guys.
Yeah.
It didn't matter with those guys. Now, Diego is a little bit more polarizing because of the personality, but there was some polarizing stuff about Kyler as well. I think one of the things that's polarizing about Diego is he went to Vanderbilt, and I still think if Diego did what he did at Alabama or Texas A&M or Notre Dame, he is a day 2 pick.
That's fair. And
I don't think there's any question about it.
I was really impressed by his appearance with John Gruden this past week. I know
confident, prepared.
Gruden's his quarterback camp or whatever it's called is now at Barstool instead of ESPN, but still does his thing where he brings in these.
If there was a guy made to walk into Gruden and get along with Gruden, it was Diego Pavia.
Yes. I mean, he walked in there and I mean, just when he's doing the calls and Gruden's like, get me into a read option here. And he yells out the play. Like, Diego Pavia, you said it during the break. If there's one thing, that dude never gets rattled.
No, he is.
He is in command at all times.
Yes, he's never. I think what I said is he's never in over his head. He's never in over his head. At least he doesn't think he is.
Yeah, he's
not afraid of anything. And you know, when he had him ask him for coverages and stuff, he's like, "This is the coverage. What do we? You know, when are we going to run this play?" He's like, "Against man to man."
Yep.
I mean, he's prepared. He is ready. Is he going to be a successful NFL quarterback? I don't know. I mean, we've seen too many guys succeed and fail.
Right.
That when they should succeed or should fail, that they don't. But I know this: if I was a team, I would use a day 3 pick on him. I want that guy on my team.
Yeah,
that's all I'm saying.
I think he's a guy who's won everywhere he's gone, and not at programs that are generally expected to win. He won a national championship at New Mexico Military Institute. Then he was able to get New Mexico State to 9 wins the year he was there.
Yeah.
And then comes to Vanderbilt and
beat Auburn.
Yeah, beat Auburn at New Mexico State.
Oh, that was at New Mexico State?
No, he was at Auburn. Yeah. But yes, when he was playing at New Mexico State, beat Auburn a couple more times at Vanderbilt too. So he's polarizing, but I do think there are going to be front offices that look and say, for a 5th, a 6th, a 7th round pick, we're getting a guy who is a proven winner. As much as people on the outside may not like him, I know for a fact everybody in that Vanderbilt locker room loves Diego Pavia. Yeah. So I think there is a value to bringing him in, even if he is more of a camp body, a quarterback 3.
If you decide he's too much, you cut him and you move on.
It's the investment is so low that I think somebody is going to say, you know what? That's a guy who's won. He's got talent. He improved year over year in college. Let's see what we can get out of him in training camp this year.
Well, I think as the evaluation has gone on, I think it's along the lines of what you have said. People are surprised how well he throws the football.
Yeah.
I mean, because that's everybody thinks he's just a running quarterback. That is not true. The kid can sling it. He can sling it, and he can throw in the pocket, and he can throw outside the pocket. And for a guy as little as he is, he's very strong. Now, the other thing that I like about him, and this will be counterintuitive, is his size. He is a wrestler.
Yeah.
He was a state
he's
champion.
not small and skinny.
He's built. And that's one of the things that helped Russell Wilson. He was a broader based guy. And he also took care of himself. He didn't take a lot of hits unnecessarily.
Yeah.
I think he was better at avoiding hits than any quarterback. And I know I don't love Russell Wilson. I love the way he protected his body. But Diego, you can use him in the read option, and he might get hurt. But I'm not worried about him getting hurt like Jaden Daniels or Marcus Mariota or any of these tall Ty Simpson,
lanky guys.
Yes. Yeah. I'm not worried about him. He's kind of a running back who can play quarterback. But I think he's a better thrower than that. And I think there's I think going to the combine and some of the stuff people have seen, well, he can sling it. I'm like, well, if you put on the tape, you can see it too. Just look at the last 5 games when he averaged like 500 yards of offense a game.
And again, I was at every home game for Vanderbilt over 2 years, went to a couple road games, watched, I believe, every game on TV at least. The difference from year 1 at Vanderbilt to year 2 of Diego Pavia as a passer is night and day.
Well, he was also hurt the second half of his first year.
That is true. But in year 1, he was a fine passer.
Yes.
But
he got better.
In year 2, there are some throws that he made last year that are NFL level throws. Like
absolutely.
He was slinging it, especially down the stretch, like you mentioned. So
you go look at that Texas game. I mean, he was just second half. He was just gunning it.
I mean, I think one of the games that stands out to me is Auburn. Like they got behind early in that game, and he had to come back with his arm.
He won that game,
and he won that game late in overtime. I think somebody's going to take a chance on Diego Pavia. If I had to guess, I'd say 6th round, but it wouldn't surprise me if it's a little higher.
Yeah.
It also may not surprise me if it was a little lower, but we'll see.
I think Carolina would be good.
It's be a good fit.
I think Baltimore would be good. I think Denver would be good.
Yeah.
With Sean Payton. This is a match made in heaven. Jim Harbaugh.
Yeah, in LA.
Imagine those two together.
Harbaugh and give him Mike McDaniel.
Yeah. Now he's behind Justin.
Right. Herbert. Yeah. He wouldn't play, but like to get him.
No one's drafting him to be their starter.
I would guess Mike McDaniel would be able to come up with some packages, some creative packages for Diego Pavia. So that could end up being the right fit there. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. 2 hours in the books. We got one more with you on this Wednesday. We'll get into a lot of things in the final hour of the show. The college basketball season has wrapped up. We'll get Cory's thoughts on the Final Four. Also, the transfer portal heating up. Tennessee continues to lose players on both the men's and women's side
at a prolific rate.
I mean,
not just a couple players. It's prolific.
I believe at one point, and it's not the case anymore, Tennessee women's basketball actually got a commit in the transfer portal this morning.
Did they?
So they do have 2 players committed to play for them next year. But I believe at one point they had 3 total players on their rosters yesterday. Combined between the men's and women's program.
And we could talk about it. I'm surprised with some of the players that have left the men's program.
I agree.
Because I thought they were in a position to play.
Yep. I agree. And we'll get into that in hour number 3 as well. 615-737-1025. Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis, Parker Kelly. Next man up. 1025 The Game. Final hour on this Wednesday. Next man up, 102.5 The Game. Jake Lyman joined in studio by Cory Curtis from News 2, Parker Kelly at the controls. We are broadcasting from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. Been a fun show. Preds talk, Titans talk. The college basketball season is in the books. Michigan, your national champions, over UConn on Monday. UCLA wins on the women's side over South Carolina in blowout fashion. Your thoughts on the Final Fours this past weekend, Cory?
Well, okay. Watching South Carolina dismantle UConn was stunning. Stunning.
Yeah, and Gino Auriemma falling apart at the
that was
seams.
not stunning. That was not stunning. Still disappointing. Not stunning, but Dawn Staley is amazing. And I have this conversation with people, and they rarely agree with me, so I don't expect you to, but maybe you will. When you win a game like that, it is tough to come back for the next one.
Yeah.
It just is. It just is. And people say, well, they're playing for the national championship. They just destroyed the 38-0 team that was supposed to run away with the championship. And now you're telling them 2 days later, they've got to get it back together.
Against the team that was a hair behind them
Yes.
all season.
And so it was not, I mean, look, was I surprised they lost badly? Yes, at 100%. But I am not surprised they lost the game. That is a tough game. That was my only concern for Michigan in the championship game on the men's side, is after they destroyed Arizona, and we all said it, that was the championship game.
Yeah.
What do they have left emotionally? Are they mature enough to handle it?
Especially Lendeborg was banged up too.
Yes, against UConn. And they absolutely did. So congratulations to the Big Ten, whose new motto is "We're just better." And
it just means more. We're just better.
We're just better. We're just better.
It just means most.
We're just better.
6487 texted this in earlier. Speaking of Big Ten national championships, and we let the Big Ten fans flex their muscles here, even though we're an SEC country. He says Big Ten national championships this year: football, men's basketball, women's basketball. First time in 19 years, one conference has had those three. Wrestling, field hockey, women's hockey, men's soccer, water polo, and have two of the Frozen Four in men's hockey. And baseball, UCLA is currently number one.
Yeah. Look, I'm going to say something, and I'm not making accusations. I'm just going to go based on teams that have gotten in trouble in the past. All right. Once NIL became a thing and everyone started to be able to pay players, did the field get leveled?
Yeah.
Okay. Is that coincidence?
No, it's a fair point that the SEC, rumors are they had their McDonald's bags for a long time that they were dropping on doorsteps.
Kentucky, Eddie Sutton, cash mail. How many times has Auburn been under suspension? Ole Miss repeatedly.
Who was it? Was it Coach O a couple months ago who said, like, NIL, you don't go in the back door anymore. Now you just walk through the front door.
Yes. He said that on Bussin' with the Boys.
So I was at South Carolina for a long time when Lou Holtz was there. I heard a lot of stories.
No, I think it's a fair point that once everybody has been able to make their players salaried employees, it's like now that you've given everybody else the advantage that the SEC seemed to have for years.
Look, it just means more is the slogan.
Yeah.
What did that mean? It means we're willing to do what no one else is to win.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it means more down here. And we've had the conversation about just the regional sports fans up north, Big Ten country, ACC country, half and half. They care more about pro sports up there. The fans do in general.
And the SEC has really made it an enemy of itself to everyone by the chest thumping of SEC, where it just means more. We're better, thumbing your nose at everybody. We hate Ohio State. We hate Notre Dame because they're the only teams in the North that can play with us, blah, 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 blah. And and there's probably people on the radio listening to the radios right now ready to vomit on me. I'm just telling you what the perception is. And because I know people here have hated the Big Ten forever. People in the Big Ten did not care, about the SEC. Ohio State cared about Michigan. That's what they cared about. But now you have made it where they do want to beat the SEC because they're tired of hearing it.
Yeah. No, and I do think that the The money is a huge part of this. Sonny on the text line does say Michigan had the largest scandal money-wise in college history with the Fab Five. So
yeah,
but I think the point we're trying to make is that everybody cheated a little bit back then, but now you have a salary cap basically.
Yeah.
And I know that there's ways to get around it, but
I will just say now that there's NIL, has it leveled the field?
Yeah, 100%. And I think partially you have to look at the leveling of the field in the SEC as the conference has leveled the field, which has made it more.
Vanderbilt's good now.
Right. It's made it more difficult for the elite teams to separate themselves because they're playing better competition week in and week out.
Do you think it's coincidence that Nick Saban stepped out when he did?
Nope.
Why? Why would he step out now?
Yeah, he didn't want to deal with this.
Well, and also, is it harder for him to win?
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they're losing players.
Yeah. Well, right. Back in Saban's prime, he recruited 5 stars. They'd wait their turn. They'd play their 1 year, and then they'd go to the NFL.
Like Mike Vrabel told me this a long time ago when we were in a meeting once. And it was when he first took over the Titans. And he was like, and he had to get Corey Davis on the field. He's like, look, Corey Davis is what I got.
Yeah.
All right. At Michigan, if Corey Davis got hurt, I had 3. I mean, no, Michigan, Ohio State. If Corey Davis got hurt, I had 3 more of them in line.
Yeah.
It wasn't a big deal. But here, I got 1. All right. And for Nick Saban, that's what he had.
That's what it was, is that you recruited 5 stars every year, and the 5 stars committed to Alabama knowing that they would have to sit for a year or 2. Then they'd get their chance, and they'd go to the NFL after 3 years.
Yeah.
But now those 5 stars who commit to Alabama, they don't play as a freshman. Well, I'm going in the portal. I'm going to get my money, and I'm going to go play somewhere else. And so it's true. I think that's a large reason why Nick Saban left. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. If you want to chime in, you can by texting or calling our phone lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. The transfer portal is now open with the season coming to an end. It's been very interesting for Tennessee so far. Lots of players leaving, but also both programs have had a couple of additions over the last week. We'll get into that. And Vanderbilt as they wait to see if Tyler Tanner is going to return. Obviously, that's a big piece, but Vandy expected to be very active in the transfer portal as well. 615-737-1025. Jake Lyman, Corey Curtis, Parker Kelly, next man up. 102.5 The Game. Next man up, 102.5 The Game. Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis, Parker Kelly. College basketball season wrapped up over the weekend. Michigan beats UConn on the men's side. UCLA beats South Carolina on the women's side. And just as quickly as the season ends, the transfer portal opens up. And we've already seen a flurry of names go in, including a lot at Tennessee. And the women's side, I think, is less surprising given the way that season ended. You lost your final 8 games of the year. There was clearly tension in that locker room. Now, I didn't think Kim Caldwell was going to lose every player on her roster like she did, but I think you could expect there was going to be
attrition,
some departures there.
Yeah.
The men's side with Rick Barnes is what surprises me the most.
Stunning.
I mean,
stunning.
Obviously, you were losing some of your graduating seniors. Jacoby Gillespie's gone. Felix Okpara's gone.
Mm-hmm.
You were expecting to lose Nate Ament to the NBA draft.
Yep.
But, man, Cade Phillips and JP Estrella in the front court along with Jalen Carey.
Mm-hmm.
And then you lose Bishop Boswell and Amari Evans in the backcourt.
Boswell is really the one that surprised me.
I agree.
Because he played well late. And with Jacoby gone, you thought this was his spot.
Right. You felt like he was going to step up, and
you just wonder, like, does he think, well, now that Jacoby's gone, I want $2 million to play that spot. And if I'm not going to get it, I'm going to leave.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to put words in anybody's mouth, but why else is he leaving? I mean, he could be the starting point guard for Tennessee next year.
Do you wonder if, and I'm seeing this on Chase and Big Joe's board that they've gotten here, Justin Gainey, who is now the head coach of North Carolina State.
Yeah.
Do you wonder if maybe there's like relationships there with these players that was closer, and he's going to bring a bunch of them over to the Wolfpack? That's one of the only things I can think of, because
that's the school you have to look out for.
Right. Like here. I can't imagine Rick Barnes wanted to lose all but 2 players on his roster. Like, I would guess he wanted some of these guys back, and they were always going to go to the portal. They already brought in Tyler Lundblade from Belmont, but it's shocking to see a lot of guys that you thought were going to be contributors next year for Tennessee all hit the portal.
Here's what I know what's going on here, and I don't mean to interrupt.
No, I want to hear it.
So last year, Rick Barnes in Tennessee, they probably spent $8 to $9 million on last year's team.
They had one of the highest payrolls in college basketball.
Well, they're doubling it this year.
Okay.
And the goal for Tennessee is not just to make the Final Four. They want a national championship.
Oh.
So they're trying to build a super team like Michigan just did, with all 5 from the transfer portal.
I don't think they're going to be alone.
Maybe not. That's the blueprint. But here's exactly what's happening. All these players are saying, okay, the payroll's doubled. Well, I want this amount of money.
Yeah.
And Rick Barnes isn't willing to give them that. Because if you're averaging 3 to 4 points like Amari Evans is, do you deserve $2 million?
Nope.
No. So they're leaving. And he's going to go get a lot of guys from the transfer portal and try to build a super team like Michigan did.
I get that. That's a valid point to make. For Rick Barnes, they've gotten to the Elite 8 3 years in a row. And in order to break through that ceiling and finally get to a Final Four, you've probably, I mean, it's the Deion Sanders. I'm bringing luggage and it's Louis. It's like, if you want to go and get to a Final Four and win a national championship, some of these guys may have been great role players for you on an Elite 8 team, but are they going to step up and be key contributors on a Final Four team for you? Probably not. So you have to go to the portal, and you got to go to the portal big.
Well, the amazing thing is, like, when you look at this Michigan team, and that's why, like, everybody's freaking out, and I say, I get it, because I was like, I literally said on the air the other day, I'm like, I've been doing this 30 years. I've never seen anything like this at Tennessee. I mean, just everybody leaving. And then you consider Michigan. 5 starters, all 5 transfers, and they won the national title.
Yep.
So should we be freaking out? Maybe not. Maybe like Parker said, maybe this is just the new way to do things. The thing that's amazing to me, and I always say I went to SIU, and we had a kid. Gosh, I can't remember his name now because I'm old. But he transferred to Illinois a couple of years ago, and he had a triple-double in the NCAA tournament. He's great. He was a great player for us.
I know who you're talking about.
And he wound up being a really good player in Illinois. And it's finding those guys when you're the Big Ten school or the SEC school. It's finding those guys that wins you the national championship. Because when I see Yaxel, and I say he played at UAB.
Yep.
How on earth did he get to UAB? How on earth did every SEC, ACC, Big 10, Big 12, Pac-12, how did all of those schools miss on him? Because I watch him, I'm like, that's freaking Karl Malone out there. I mean,
that's the unfortunate thing, because a lot of these guys that are graduating from high school, you're going to have your exceptions with your Darius Acuffs, your Darian Petersons, AJ DeBonsta. A lot of these guys are going to have to go to a mid-major or even Division II,
but that's okay
to prove themselves.
But that's okay. They're still going to get to go play. They're still going to get paid, and where you start isn't probably going to be where you finish.
It's a new age.
It is a new age, and Middle Tennessee on the football side have had these conversations with them. They're trying to embrace that they're going to lose players. And they said, we got to go find players. We want players to make as much money as they can. So we know if we succeed, we're going to lose a lot of players.
Yeah. And I guess that's a tough realization for some of these mid-major schools, is that you basically have become a developmental feeder program for the elite teams in college basketball. And that's why you're seeing less of these mid-major teams make runs in the NCAA tournament, because they
lose their upperclassmen.
Right.
Now.
The seniors who used to be the leaders on those teams are now taking a paycheck at Michigan to go.
You used to have an SIU or a Miami of Ohio or somebody who had 5 seniors out there as starters.
Right.
And all of a sudden, as a 12 seed, they are a big problem.
And they're playing a Kentucky team that's playing 5 18-year-olds.
Yes. And now all of a sudden, none of those teams have 5 seniors because 4 of them have left in the portal and are starting in the Big Ten and the SEC, and they're getting paid. And while it hurts my school, okay, I'm happy for those guys. Because 99% of those guys are not going to play professionally, and if they have a chance to make $300,000, $800,000, whatever it is, good for them. I always say nobody is forcing money on these kids. Nobody is stripping the administration of money. This is money coming to the program from outside the university, paying these kids. No one's forcing anyone to do it. All right. They always said the money wasn't there to pay players. We all know now it was a lie then, and it's a lie now. Now, do we need rules? Do we need order? Do we need structure? Absolutely. Am I for the way it is right now, where it's just this absolute
chaos? Yep.
No, I'm not. But I'd rather have this than the way it was, where a kid gets a hamburger and he gets suspended for it for a year because the NCAA is so greedy that they think, if you give a kid a ride home from practice, that's illegal.
It's a violation.
I know somebody who got in trouble for that.
Yeah, no, I mean, it happens. The NCAA has gone from the big bad wolf to baby bear in
they're worthless
in 10 years.
They've been worthless, but now everybody knows.
But right, at least the NCAA, they were going to come after you for everything. And
if you were a small program,
you're going to get slaps on the wrist here and there. But they were denied. I remember a story from when I was a freshman at Virginia Tech. Brock Hoffman, who's now playing in the NFL, he's a center for the Cowboys, I want to say. He was transferring from Coastal Carolina, and this was back when you had to sit out a year.
Yeah.
And he asked for a waiver because his sick mother was closer to Virginia Tech.
Yeah.
He was 1 mile outside the hardship waiver rules, and the NCAA denied his waiver. And it's that's what they used to be. And now it's we can't do anything. You guys do whatever you want.
I remember Dale Brown at LSU told a story about he had a player whose mom was dying. And he bought him a plane ticket to go see her before she died and got in trouble.
Yeah.
It's come on, man. Come on. What world are we living in?
It used to be way too strict of everything is going to be hounded by the NCAA, to now it's just, it's a wild, wild west. We can't do anything.
Yeah.
So the transfer portal this year is, we say it every year, it gets crazier and crazier, but man, you're seeing a third of basketball players across the entire country go into the portal. And it's on the men's side. It's on the women's side. We just talked about Kim Caldwell a little bit. She is replacing an entire roster, 13 players, 5 seniors, 8 transfers, all gone. And one of their biggest recruit, Olivia Edwards, just decommitted.
Number 2 in the country.
Yes. So she is now gone. They have 1 freshman and now 1 transfer. They were able to get a transfer from Liberty this morning.
She's really good. If that's the one I'm thinking of, she's really good.
44% from 3,
yes.
15
Okay,
points
I
per
know
game.
exactly who you're talking about.
It's a very good player.
She is one of the elite players in the portal from the mid-major level, and so that's a good get for her. I'm going to say something that's not popular probably at this moment. I'm excited to see what Kim Caldwell does, because I am still, despite the way this year ended for them, to me, is not just a coaching issue.
Yeah.
That things that go bad like that, there is an internal problem. And I don't know what that internal problem is. I don't know if it was her. I don't know if it was the assistant that there was a problem with. I don't know if it's Danny White. I don't know. I don't know. But I don't think that Kim Caldwell forgot how to coach. I don't. I think she's learning to adapt, going to have to learn to adapt to the level that she's at.
Yeah.
And everybody's got their fingers in the pot. But I still believe in her.
I said a similar sentiment yesterday of last year she went out and got the McDonald's All-Americans, high school and in the transfer portal. She went and got the 5 stars and former 5 stars because that's what you do at Tennessee. You get the elite talent. And the elite talent didn't fit what she wanted to do, culture-wise, system-wise. I wonder if a clean slate might help her. And like Avery Mills is the name of the player from Liberty that they just got. Yeah. I think that's a fit for her. I mean, that is a shooter who
she needs shooters.
Played big minutes at Liberty. And she's
a starter at Tennessee now.
She may have to score less at Tennessee.
No, she might have to score more.
Well, the way Kim Caldwell runs her system, you're only playing like 20 to 25 minutes a game.
Yes. Well, ideally.
Well, they're all.
She needs 10 more players.
There are a lot of seats on that bench that are empty right now. You don't have your 5-5 line change at this point.
Well, and again, so we're panicking. Fans are panicking.
Yeah.
I saw a statistic yesterday. Over half of the players in college basketball are in the portal.
Over half. I thought I saw a third, but maybe that was just at that point and it's gone up.
No, the number I saw yesterday was over half. It's like of 5,000 players, it was like over 2,500 players were in the portal. There are plenty of players to be had. And there are a lot of just look at the players that have left Tennessee.
Yeah.
There are a lot of really good players. And Tennessee isn't the only school that's losing. Look, Michigan just fielded 5 of them and won the national championship. They got a kid from North Carolina. They got a kid from UAB. They got the guy from Illinois. Could you imagine Illinois with Marcus Johnson still on the team? They might have been the one cutting down the net.
Right.
All right. So, it's going to be interesting to see, what she can put together and what Rick Barnes can put together. I think because it's such a new era, it is easy to freak out, but maybe they'll be fine.
Yeah. I mean, you just don't know in this era of college basketball. And with Kim Caldwell and the unique system she runs, I do wonder if this could be a good thing for her. She's going to be on the hot seat, and it has to be a good thing for her.
Yeah.
But she's getting the opportunity to build her team this year.
It's amazing how things have changed between Tennessee and Vanderbilt.
I will say, as of right now, at least that I've seen, Vanderbilt has not had any players enter the portal.
Which is really stunning.
Yeah.
Which is really – and I still wonder if they had kept Diana Marr and Camille Pierre.
Yeah. Yeah. I did see this morning from Talia Goodman at On 3 that Vandy has an Iowa State transfer, Addie Brown, who is going to be visiting.
Before we go, what does Vandy need to take the next step? Because there's another step for them on the women's team.
Yeah, I think some size. I think you need to add size down low. I think Ayanna Mitchell, you're going to see her be a part of the solution in the post, but not everything.
Size and athleticism?
Yeah, like I don't think you don't need I know some people have said, go get Audie Crooks to pair with Michaela and Aubrey. Audie Crooks doesn't fit the way Vanderbilt wants to play on either end of the floor.
Okay.
I think you need an athletic big who you can pair down there. And then you probably need somebody who can play that Justine Passat role, but maybe can do a little bit more.
Well, I mean, she was one of the leading 3-point shooters in the country.
Like maybe you take back a little step back in terms of 3-point shooting, but somebody who can score off the dribble a little bit more easily than Justine Passat could, plays a little better defense than Justine. But I think you look and you see the pieces that they have there with Michaela and Aubrey obviously coming back, at least as we know so far. And then you bring in Olivia Jones and Jai Johnson, who are both top 40 recruits.
Who got hurt this last year before the season?
Oh, Madison Green will be back.
Okay.
So
she was supposed to play a lot.
Your front court, your back court feels pretty set. I mean, they may make an addition there, but you've got Michaela Blakes, Aubrey Galvin, Madison Green coming back, and then Olivia Jones, who's the 12th ranked recruit in the country.
Okay.
I feel like that's your rotation.
Could they go 3 guards?
You could go 3 guards. Like they did it last year with Jada Brown, but I think it's an upgrade bringing back Madison Green or Olivia Jones. Jai Johnson will play a role in the post. She's 6'4" and she can play inside out. And then Ayanna Mitchell, You've got Agamakura coming back, who maybe you could see a Justine Passat type jump from her. So there's options there, but I do think they'll be active in the portal. I would expect at least an addition or two.
Well, number one, Vanderbilt wants to win now.
Yep.
And they're willing to spend the money to do it. You know, they've dipped their toes in the water before. I think that right now they like the way this feels. I mean,
yeah,
I mean they do, and so I think they'll stick with it. And if they do, they've got the coaches in place to win.
Right.
Now, clearly, for the men's and the women's team and the football team, even there's another step to take, but you can now see that step.
Right.
You couldn't see it before.
Right. And the proof of concept helps. And I think, especially with Candace Story-Lee as your athletic director, a former player for the women's team, I think the women's team is going to get the investment that you need to take that step. And we've already seen the reports that the men's team is going to get $10 million plus to build their roster.
Well, and again, I remember a time when Tennessee Vandy women was must-see TV.
Yeah.
And the line was out the door at Memorial Gym to get in. I remember a time when Memorial Magic was real.
Yeah.
And the gym was packed all the time. They can get back there and they can get a return on their investment.
100%.
Because people like a winner.
They do. They do.
You know, and I know there was some disappointment at the start of this season with the lack of attendance. And I still think November, December is a tough draw, but they hadn't set the expectation.
Right.
And then both those teams got in the top 10, and guess what? People showed up.
Yeah. And I mean, you're an inch from Tyler Tanner's half-court heave away from having 2 Sweet 16 teams this past year, and both are looking to take a step forward next season. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. We got a couple more segments on this Wednesday. Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis, Parker Kelly, next man up, 1025 The Game. Next man up, 102.5 The Game. Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis, Parker Kelly, with you for a couple more segments here on this Wednesday. Cory, want to get your thoughts on the Masters? Are you a big golf fan?
I've kind of given up.
Really?
On golf. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I'm not interested.
I see. I am not one of those people who will be tuned in for, I think last week was like the Valero Texas Open. Like I've got no interest in tuning in for that, but the majors, the Valero Texas Open.
I've covered, it used to be the Shell Houston Open, and I have covered that tournament.
Yeah. What's like the 3M Open is in Detroit, and you've got, the Waste Management is the big one in Phoenix every year.
Now, I covered the Masters for 7 years.
Really? Mm-hmm. So you've been on the grounds at Augusta?
Multiple times.
Wow.
I've walked the whole course.
What's it like?
Is it as holy as they say it is?
Yeah. I defy you to find a weed. I do. Now, it is wide open.
Yeah.
Right? So if you're directionally challenged off the tee, it's not a bad place to be.
Yeah.
Okay. And because the rough isn't terrible. And it is wide open. And even hitting out of the woods, they're all pine trees. All right. So it's not like hitting through maples.
Right.
So there's a lot of ways to get out of trouble. Now, the greens are lightning, and there's nothing flat about them. I mean,
yeah.
Even like the first hole is an elevated green. All right. And so if you over putt it, it's coming off. But it's beautiful. If you don't know this, there's a reason the azaleas are always in bloom this week. It's because they're all in pots. They're all in a greenhouse, and they get brought out and stuck in the ground to bloom at this exact weekend. All right. And then they all get covered with pine straw. All right. So those are all not out there year round.
Right. Yeah. There's no way that they could time it up like that.
But yeah, the course is immaculate. It is. Now they're like straight up Nazis over there, running the place. I mean,
no phones. That's my favorite policy.
Yeah,
I love the no phones.
You can't walk out with a cup.
Can't walk out with a cup.
No, that's illegal. Can't walk out with a cup.
I love the no phones policy.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that.
That's great. And I love that, you're paying a lot of money if you're going there. Like if you win the lottery and you get a ticket, just because you win the lottery doesn't mean you get the ticket for free. You got to go pay for it.
Trust me, I know that.
You're just getting the opportunity to pay for the ticket, and you've also got to pay for hotel and travel. I do love that all the food is nice and cheap.
I was going to say,
how's the pimento cheese?
I am the egg salad guy.
Okay.
The egg salad sandwich. Pimento cheese is fine. I used to work with a guy who took them in half and he'd put them together. He'd get two sandwiches and he'd mix them and make pimento cheese with egg salad. But they were $1.50 back when I used to cover it.
I believe they're still the same.
Okay.
Yes.
And you used to go there and you'd go to the meeting room and it was as much as you wanted.
Gotcha.
I mean, it was just all in $1.50. But yeah, I agree with you. Of the things the Masters does right, I think cheap concessions is right up there. Now, also, because I'm old, back in the day when I covered the Masters, I could wait on 18. Freddie Couples would walk off the green. I could walk right up to him with my camera and my microphone and say, Freddie, you got 2 minutes? And I would interview Freddie Couples coming off the green on 18 by myself. Or somebody else might join in and do it. Freddie Couples, Vijay Singh, Fuzzy Zeller. I got Tiger Woods in the bullpen after a round. This is how things have changed. Now it's all at the podium.
Yeah.
It's all at the podium. And I was doing sports in Columbia, South Carolina, which was, it's like an hour away.
Gotcha.
And so we covered the Masters every year. But I remember by the time I was done in Columbia, I was almost like, what's the use of going? Everything's at the podium. We'll get it all. We'll get it all. It'll look the same. We'll get it all off the feed. We can't get the interviews that we used to get. And so it really changed the way we did things. But yeah, I used to walk the entire course with my camera.
That's amazing.
And shoot all these guys playing. I don't think you can do that anymore. On practice rounds, you know how they have the TV towers? I would go up in the TV towers with my camera and shoot guys walking the course and playing. And then you go out to the practice range and you really get interviews there.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, okay. Here's the craziest part about golf. The craziest part. I'm not even kidding. So you go to the practice range and there's all these photographers from like Korea and Japan, and they don't want pictures of the golfers. They're taking pictures of their clubs and their bags. And they like stop them coming off the green off the practice driving range, have them put their bag down. And it's like a photographer with like just the mega Canon lens. And they're just taking pictures of their bag and of their clubs. I'm like, what the hell is going on here? And I still haven't gotten an answer.
I was about to ask, did you ever find out why?
No, I didn't. The other thing is, so a lot of Asians love golf, as you would see on the women's tour now, because they dominate the women's tour now. So they flock to Augusta.
Yeah.
And they will come in like, so have either of you guys been?
I'm not. No.
Okay. So you go to the gift shop. All right. And the gift shop is massive and they've got a lot of wonderful Masters merchandise. It's really expensive now.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's like, I haven't been there in a long time. I would imagine it's $120 plus.
I've seen people tweeting like they'll walk into the Masters shop and come out $1,000 later.
Well, that wouldn't be hard to do. But my point is this. I would see these people come in from overseas and they would have like the big IKEA bag or whatever, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And they wouldn't even look at what they were grabbing. They would just grab stuff. They wouldn't look
throw
at
it in the
size.
bag. Yeah, throw it in the bag.
It's got a Masters logo on it.
Yes,
it's coming with us.
And they would pack the bag to the top and go and check out. And I mean, we're talking tens of thousands of dollars.
I just want a polo. That's all.
Yeah,
and that's probably what, 150 now,
right? Which if you get the one opportunity to go to Augusta, I would get a souvenir of some sort. But like,
I always got the golf hat.
Thousands of dollars.
Like, the little hat was $25, $20. I was good with that. I had one every year for like 3 years, and then I stopped buying them.
First Master since '94 with no Tiger, no lefty.
Something
crazy.
That's something. One of my favorite parts of the Masters is the opening tee shot.
Yeah, when they bring the champions out.
We used to have like with Arnie and Jack and Gary Player. If there's a golf course in heaven, it's Augusta National. Says it every year. He'll say it again this year. But seeing those guys tee off is great. It is great. There's stuff about Augusta I love. There's stuff about Augusta I really hate. It is beautiful, and to me, it will always be the tournament of the year.
Yep. 100%.
Does that mean I'm going to watch it this year? Nope.
Well, it tees off tomorrow, and I am excited to watch
Par 3 contest.
Par 3 at the Masters is today.
Let me just tell you before we go.
Yeah.
Golf lost me with the Live Tour.
Okay.
I have strong feelings about the Live Tour.
Well, we can talk about that when we come back.
Yeah, I want to hear it.
And the players that took the money, I have no time for. They're done. I would never let them back in the tour.
And you get to see the rivalry there. Rory McIlroy and Bryson DeChambeau were talking about that yesterday. So we'll talk about that. We'll wrap up the show when we come back. We got one more segment on this Wednesday. Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis, Parker Kelly. Next man up. 102.5 The Game. Quick final segment here on this Wednesday. Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis, Parker Kelly, next man up, 102.5 The Game. Chasing Big Joe coming up next. Tomorrow, TD with us for the full show. I'll be out at 5 Iron Golf in Midtown. In fact, every show will be from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. as the Masters begin tomorrow. And we're having a Masters conversation, Cory. You've made it clear you're out on golf. And you said it specifically because of the way the live golf split happened and all the players that left.
Yeah, well, the players that left, the reason that they left, which was pure greed, sitting there saying that the PGA Tour wasn't taking care of them and blah, blah, blah. But come on. How much was Phil Mickelson worth when he left?
Yeah.
I mean, give me a break. You guys play golf. It's not a sport. It's a recreational activity.
Well, and they made it clear that, I don't know if you watched the Full Swing documentary on Netflix.
No.
So Full Swing, they did a full year documentary about the PGA Tour, and it just so happened to catch when all the live stuff went down.
Mm-hmm.
And all of the live guys, it was, well, if you had somebody offer you to make more money and play and work less, wouldn't you take it?
Sure.
And I'm like, yeah, I guess that's a good way of putting it. But like,
you're playing for nothing.
I was like, do you not care who's giving you the money?
Wait, yeah, that is a very big one. Who is your money coming? Look, there's a reason that Leo Messi is with Inter Miami and not playing in the Saudi league where they offered him like $1 billion.
Yes, literally $1 billion.
He turned down $1 billion to play in Saudi Arabia. There's no question what Saudi Arabia's goals are with the Live Tour. All right. And this is a political conversation, but they're trying to whitewash their image through sports and they're doing the same thing with their soccer league. And, they're spending billions of dollars that they could farm out to some of their people. But they're not. I have huge problems with the way the Live Trophy Tour looks, the way their trophy looks, and what it resembles strikingly. I think it's a slap in the face. And again, so if you're in the NFL and you're making $10 million a year and you're the quarterback of the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah.
And the Montreal Alouettes call you and say, we're going to give you $20 million a year to bring us the Grey Cup. You give, they're going to double my money. I'm going to go get that Grey Cup.
Yeah, that's a fair point. It's like,
because what are you playing for?
Right.
You're not playing for, all you're doing is playing for money every weekend.
And nobody cares.
Nobody cares. I have not watched 1 minute of Live Tour Golf.
Neither have I. And
I have never had an inkling to watch a minute of Live Tour Golf. And that's regardless of the fact that I don't like what the Live Tour stands for, but it's the fact that they're not playing for anything.
Well, I do wonder if part of the deal was you can't play in any of the majors.
Yeah, I wouldn't let him play in the majors either.
But I'm saying if that was part of the deal, I wonder if Les would have left. Because, like, for Brooks Koepka, who is majors guy, like, for his entire career, it's like, I'm not going to do much in the other tournaments, but I'm going to go win the majors. I wonder if that, and he's come back since, but, like, I wonder if that would have changed his thought process.
If I were the PGA Tour, by the way, the PGA Tour then merging with Live infuriated me. And then, because I would never let any of those guys back in. I remember when it happened, like with some of the stuff, Rory was
just scorched earth.
And he should have.
Yeah.
He should have. He stood by the PGA Tour, and the PGA Tour stabbed him in the back.
Yeah.
All right. And so, yeah, golf has done a lot to lose me. A lot. I mean, like, I was there for the Tiger stuff. I mean, I've seen golf go. There was this big, heavy golfer, Greg Ogles, I think was his name. And I remember interviewing him at the MCI Heritage down, because we would cover the Masters, and then the next week we would cover the MCI Heritage down at Hilton Head.
Yeah.
And I remember he's like, and he, after a couple of years of Tiger, he'd had it. He's like, somebody's going to win this tournament, because Tiger wasn't there. And you know what the newspaper's going to say? Tiger doesn't win. And blah, 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 blah. There's a lot of guys in this tour who can play golf. And I'm like, yeah, but none of them play as well as that guy.
That is very true.
I mean, he elevated golf to a place it had never, ever been. I mean, and look, Jack was great and Arnie was great. Arnie's Army was a huge part of moving golf forward. But Tiger Woods was a phenomenon.
Yep.
A phenomenon. And to go from where golf was at that point, peak Tiger, to where golf is now, and I know they've got more money now, but I'll put it to you this way. We do Sports Extra. We do 30 minutes every Sunday night. I haven't shown one tournament yet.
Yeah.
this year.
And no Tiger, no Phil.
I don't
Masters
care.
starts tomorrow. And again, we will all be out at 5 Iron
who's your
Golf
pick to win?
tomorrow. I'm sticking with, Nick Frazier. What Tommy Fleetwood? I'm going Tommy Fleetwood.
Oh, I thought you were going to go with Nick Frazier.
I'm going to go Tommy Fleetwood. Brings it home. Again, we will be out at 5 Iron Golf tomorrow. Right. Teron Davenport on the show at 9 a.m. Chase and Big Joe are coming up next. You're on 102.5 The Game.